Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
To send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode. We have been gone for a couple of weeks as we were coming into the Conclave Arcana presale and all of the hype kind of leading up to the end of the presale, and some of us traveling abroad and seeing the world and saying what's up to our Italian friends. I feel like I've kind of got two guests on today. We got Jimmy back in the co-host saddle. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Welcome back, Jangles. Good to be here once again in the chair.
Attaboy. And we welcome back to the show one of our favorite guests, COO over at Splinterlands, our good buddy Dave McCoy. Always good to hang out, Dave. Welcome back.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Happy to be here on the day that Jimmy can be also the guest as well, since we forgot what
double guest.
Yeah,
double guest.
Double guest.
You guys can't see him, but he's looking good. He's really looking good right now.
He came back looking very Italian. Let's just leave it at that.
He did.
I relaxed. I got to chill, man. I actually took a couple days. Dude, I spent a couple days in the Saturnia hot springs, which is literally one of the most amazing hot springs on the planet, where it's just like days of just sitting there unwinding. And I haven't felt as good in years, to be honest.
Beautiful, man.
You do look good. You look great.
Nice.
Looking happy, Jimmy. It's good to see. Yeah. It's good to have you back. Good to have both you guys back.
Bam. And Dave with his video mustache that he put on the Zoom filter there, looking sharp.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys can't see it on the show. So.
Yeah, surprise, Dave. This is going to be our first video-only episode. We'll dub it later.
We'll see it. So we might as well get this out of the way since we're on the topic. Dave, you said at one point you were going to show us a picture where you had a mustache. When was this, and what was the mustache?
College. It was in college. So.
And when were you in college? That was like the 30s?
Oh yeah, that was back. When was Babe Ruth? He was. It was pretty close to that. No, it was the 80s, 80, 82, 81 through 85. So.
And what kind of mustache did you have in 1982 to 85 there?
I mean, just a regular mustache, just, I don't know.
Top of the lip.
It wasn't like a handlebar mustache or anything like that. And it wasn't a Hitler mustache. So it was just, typical mustache from back in the day.
Well, I mean, the Hitler mustache was actually originally the Charlie Chaplin mustache, and quite fashionable back in the day. He ruined that mustache, man. That guy ruined a perfectly cool mustache. Still can't use it.
If I could have grown a beard, I would have had the mustache and the beard, but I couldn't really grow a beard back then. So
nice. So it was just the top lip, right? Just under the nose, top lip there.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I love that we're picking up right where we left off with the keeping the facial hair conversation rolling across the People's Guild. I think we're well into at least 6 or 7 episodes in a row in this season where we've managed to navigate our way to facial hair conversation. I missed it,
well,
Jimmy.
Learn a lot.
Done.
You learn a lot about a person by learning if they've ever had a mustache or what kind of mustache they might have had at some point. It says a lot.
I'm actually dying to show you my picture because that's back. I was like in my 20s, right?
I can't wait to see that.
lifted weights and was in shape. So yeah, I'm happy to show off that mustache because
That'd
you
be
guys
awesome.
get to see that I was actually like an athlete at one time. So,
You were all ripped.
old man.
The telephone was coming out. Things were changing.
Yeah,
The world was a
yeah,
different place back then.
yeah,
Bam.
Is the photo perched up on your horse ride to university, Dave?
yeah. Well, we did, the horses hadn't been invented yet, but we did manage to walk to school back in those days.
Nice. Uphill both ways. Yeah. Nice.
In the snow.
Yeah. Was it?
Beautiful. Well, before we really dive into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, I want to issue a public congratulations, Dave. We've been watching things kind of unfold the last 6 or 7 months. I think the town hall kind of kicked things off, discussing and acknowledging the rather ambitious plans for the first start of for the start of 2025. There were 6 or 7, pretty big, significant undertakings that Matt kind of identified as being cornerstones to setting the right tone for the year. And everybody, we've been gifted a little bit of PTSD with big projects in such tight time frames. And here we are, looking back, and every single one has been knocked out. There hasn't been a single hiccup across any of them. There are a couple of minor things that we're still waiting on, and those were called out during town hall as coming soon. But as far as the significant stuff, which kind of ultimately culminated with the Conclave Arcana release, you guys knocked it out of the park. So huge congratulations on a very successful launch, which like I mentioned was on the heels of completing 4 or 5 other very big projects. So kudos to you, kudos to the team.
Well, thank you. It wasn't really me, but it was definitely the team, and thank you on behalf of them. And they worked hard to make it happen, and I'm really proud of them too. So, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite obvious that you are kind of becoming the facilitator to things there. I actually recently started reading this book. My wife was like, "You got to check this out. It's this business book, and it's entitled Start with Why." And it's kind of shows how companies that start with a reason for doing something instead of just coming up with an idea and saying, let's do this because of what it is, have a lot more success. And it made me realize, Splinterlands kind of did that. Like their mission statement from the beginning was, and I remember this from, back in the day when I first joined in, where they're just like, our goal is to introduce people to how do we get people into blockchain? We want to get people into crypto. That's our reason for doing what we're doing. And how do we do that? Let's do that through a game. And then as a result, they created this game, and, the whole thing grew up around that. But it's also very hard to find how to do certain things, So the why was, introducing people to blockchain, doing it through games was the what. And then the how is where it gets really tough. And it's really hard to run a business, So you can have all these great ideas and all these things going on, but when you're missing just all that, the way to move things internally and to just run things smoothly, that was the missing piece for a while, and it's hard. I know that as a business owner. I hate doing that shit. I feel I can relate to Matt. I know how much it sucks when you're doing all this stuff you don't want to do. And it really feels to me like Dave would, just, it happens to be you and you're great at it. That was the missing piece, was the guy to get in there and say, we have all these amazing things just ready to happen. How do we facilitate this? How do we make it happen? We just need to shuffle things around a little bit and make things actually work. And it feels like since you've been here, it's only been a few weeks, everything's in place. Everything's sliding into place. Things that have been worked on for so long with so many amazing people is now starting to actually smoothly flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I don't want to take too much credit. In other words, the system was really good, in terms of like the developers are amazing. The art team produces just high quality art, and their vision of, like just how the cards look and the style, and they're very artistic, right? So that's excellent. Customer service, Royal's awesome. The game design, Bob, he's put out just a magnificent set. So the fact that everything looks good, like maybe just because I'm the new guy, it makes it look like, I was like the missing ingredient or something. And I mean, I think that I brought experience that helps. Plus, kind of my position in life is like, I honestly am here for one purpose and one purpose only. That's to succeed, right? So that makes it a little different than somebody who's trying to start a career, or maybe in the middle of a career and they're looking to go from one job to another job. Like in my case, like like I'm either gonna get my job done or I'm not gonna do this, right? Like it's really pretty cut and dry for me. So when it comes to like politics and all the different stuff that goes on in any company, whether it's with internal issues or externally with vendors, like it's pretty clear to me, like let's just make stuff happen, right? So if it doesn't make sense, then I'm gonna like say this doesn't make sense, and then let's fix it. And if we can do something, then I'm gonna ask them why we're not doing it, and just really ask a lot of questions. But I'm not actually doing anything. I'm kind of just like the band leader, right? The guy with the whatever that stick is, that they wave.
The conductor, the conductor.
Right.
Well,
Like
that's kind
I'm
of
not
my
actually
point.
making any of the music, right? I'm just the guy saying, all right, you go get this done, you go get that done, and hey, Jimmy fill in for Jangles here because Jangles just got sick. So, which
Well, that's kind of my point. All this amazing stuff was constructed and been worked on by this amazing team for so long, and we just needed that, almost like the grease in a way, the grease in the cogs, which reminds me of something. I'm going to read a piece that I found on the internet to commemorate the occasion, and I'm going to do it in a very bad Christopher Walken impersonation, because it feels more fitting this way. It's 3 short paragraphs that convey what I believe to be what the community is feeling, and possibly a new nickname for our friend David. So here we go. I saw my problems, and I'll see the light. We've got a loving thing. We've got to feed it right. There ain't no danger we can go too far. We start believing now that we can be who we are. Grease is the word. We take the pressure and we throw away conventionality. Belongs to yesterday. There is a chance that we could make it so far. We start believing now that we can be who we are. Grease is the word. Grease is the word that you heard. It's got groove, it's got meaning. Grease is the time, is the place, is the motion. Grease is the way we are feeling. And Dave McCoy, I believe that we can say you are the grease, and we're making things move.
Hell yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Well, Christopher Walken, thanks for swinging by. That was awesome, dude. Before you respond, Dave.
All right,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
Is this a Frankie Valley song, Jimmy?
I believe, yes, that Frankie Valley did write Grease.
That was awesome.
I'm old enough to actually remember that movie, just so you know, like when it came out. I don't know if you guys do, but
I do. 78, baby.
Jimmy. Honestly, that's a hell of a tribute. I think Gold Matters is probably going to have that clipped and on Twitter here in no time. So I'm gonna bookmark it, and that will be saved permanently. It's like Christopher Walken was giving me a tribute. So thank you very much.
I was inspired when I saw it, and I had to find something fitting for the moment, and I hope that was appropriate.
Yes, it was very good. Thank
No,
you.
that was badass, Jimmy. And Dave, I want to piggyback on Jimmy's comments and your response. I feel like you're selling yourself short as far as credit deserved. You know, every single person on the town hall was very quick to call you out as kind of like you call it, the conductor. I think you've inspired a level of confidence on the team. That PTSD, Matt addressed that as part of the town hall also, in that we've all kind of been conditioned to expect shortcomings and missed deadlines, and we're still working, we've got a whole bunch of bugs to get through, and we've got to delay XYZ. And I think you have single-handedly proven that you are the X factor that we were missing. The culture of the team starts to it's revealing itself that you are, you're greasing the right wheels, and things are moving in the positive trajectory at this point. And yeah, I mean, you came in at a perfect time. It was right on the cusp of this conclave big push. And I think you got credited with getting black foils across the line, getting the additional like the Yaba card in the set. And so all of this stuff that is what we're expecting is going to lead to a very successful year-long revenue generating sale. Whether it was the devs or support or Matt or creative, everybody was very quick to drop your name as the first credit there. So you're selling yourself short, man. Beautiful tribute from you, Jimmy. I'm glad that you shared that. That was an awesome surprise. And Dave, we're so lucky to have you on the squad, dude. Really proud of the work that you've put in, and I know you're a humble dude. You're gonna sell yourself short, but I know I can say very confidently that Jimmy and I will not do that. We will we'll heap the praise as much as you dismiss it. We'll continue to heap it upon you. So well done, dude.
Well, thank you, and yeah, I appreciate that both you guys say that, and obviously it's flattering, and it's really not much you can say to that except for thank you. But I will say that in all seriousness, that the people on the team really, we were there, right? We've been doing stuff. We've been delivering for a while now. I think you might be right that, like I get credit for it, or in some people's eyes, like, I was a missing factor, but in reality, I don't think that's the case. Like, let's take black foils, for instance. Blaze was working on black foils before I even got there. In fact, the day he got hired, I actually had a conversation with him, and I don't know if you guys remember it, but within 5 minutes, like, I knew Blaze was going to do good. Like, I knew the guy understood what was needed, right? He was a collector. He understood what a trading card game collection was. And so he was working on black foils and already had them approved before I even got there. So while I appreciate the fantastic, like, tribute or statements, I mean, I definitely don't want to take the credit away from those guys. Like, they did, like for instance, the Matt card, that was 100% Blaze as well. Like, he said, hey, what about if we do a 1-on-1? And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And it could be a chase card. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Right. So, my job isn't really, like, I do have a lot of ideas. In fact, everybody gets tired of hearing them. So, I don't mind. I don't mind that I have a lot of ideas, but really my job isn't so much to be the idea guy. My job is to make sure that the people that are doing the things get done, get the things they need to make it happen. Right. So if Blaze needs a black foil and a black foil arcane, my job is to make sure whatever obstacles he was going to normally run into, right? Like that I knock him down. Like I'm like his big brother, right? That's going to go through and make sure that, what he needs done gets done. And the same thing applies to Nate when it comes to, like Nate's like, hey, it's going to be hard to do all these things you're asking us to do. And I was like, he's like, but I guess we can not do this and not do that. And I was like, Nate, that's not an option, dude. Like, we're not going to not do anything. I want to know, what do you need to make it happen, right? And then he said, yeah, we're going to need a couple more people that we can hire part-time and, work on contract work and things like that. And I was like, done, we'll get it done. So my job is to support these guys with what they need, like figure out like what needs to be done. And then if they're having trouble getting it done, to make it happen. Fortunately, on the technology side, they don't really need me for anything, right? Like, honestly, you just tell Harry to do something and he gets it done. So, that whole department, like I barely even speak to them because there's, like you talk about the grease, right? They already got the grease. There's nothing I can really do. I'm happy to if they ever need me, but honestly, they don't. So, I think I help a lot with Yaba and free his mind up, right? To be in a better mood, to be, less stressed, to be more optimistic, and maybe to give some of my experience, in terms of like how businesses run. So I think I can take a little bit of credit for that. But I mean, that's not what you guys are seeing. That, Yaba, I think, would understand like how I can help him because I'm taking some of the burden off of him. Like I told him the other day, I forget what it was, but there was an issue where it was going to be a controversial situation, right? Like where some people were going to bitch about something. Can we say bitch, by the way, on your show? Is that
fucking A right, dude?
All right, there you go.
Fucking A right, dude. Yeah, bro. So we knew there was going to be a bit of a flack, and he's like, they're going to be upset. And I'm like, Matt, that's my job, right? Like, I'll take care of it. Like, if they're upset, they're going to be upset at me. It's my fault. I can handle it. Like, that's not a problem. Like, we know we're doing it for the right reason. We know it's a good point, right? And we know it's in the long-term benefit of the company. And, he's like, okay, yeah, right. So it's like taking that burden off of him of being able to make that decision. And I think the other thing that I do that would be good, and again, I'm not trying to brag, but I think it's just my personality, is I really am focused, right? Like I know what I need to do and, I'm going to get it done. Like there's no, like until you reach your objectives, you're not there, right? So the fact that everybody's excited, I'm happy about. That means they're buying packs. That means we're getting new people coming into the game. We've got almost 40% more people that have joined since the pre-sale. So the number of accounts that are buying packs is up 40% from what it was in the pre-sale. So that's really cool. But am I ringing any victory laps? Hell no. We still, I want players, man. I want new players. So we're going to have to figure that out as well. So yeah, we developed a good product, and yes, it's cool. It's exciting. It's top notch. It's something that we're going to continue to put out things like the pickle card, right? That's like fun and innovative and new ways to distribute it and new ways land is going to be used for it. Like all those things are still going to happen, but at the core, like those are side missions, right? Those are things that, of course, you got to do in a normal course of business. But I can tell you, if you really want to see what my focus is, you're going to see whether or not we get new players. When we get new players, then you'll say, then I'll take you patting on the back saying, hey, he did a good job. But not until we get thousands of them coming in every month.
So I'm looking at the Peak Monsters dashboard here, and I've been slowly intermittently keeping an eye on the new player metrics over the last 4, 5, 6 months. I think Jimmy, you and I kind of looked at that a couple of months ago together, and we're kind of scratching our heads like what's going on here. We were somewhat, fluttering around that 50 new players a day mark for months on end. Spellbooks were pretty much flatlined. Well, since the beginning of May, it's up and to the right. And as May the 11th, we passed triple-digit new players, 103. We dipped back down, and then yesterday, we hit 109. Yep, you got it pulled up right. Oh, yep, you guys are talking about it. So, I think there's going to be a lag time between new players coming in and spell books purchased. I think that's, kind of the natural course of things, especially as we continue to, build out a robust and compelling free to play version of the game. It's only natural that there is, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or a month, that remains to be seen as far as what new players, free to play players, converting into spellbook owned players. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if you guys have kind of ballparked what that should look like, but I mean, it's certainly encouraging to see the new players already coming into the game.
Yeah, I think that the new players we have coming in, it's a really powerful force when you build a product that people want, right? Like without marketing, right? I mean, are we doing any marketing? Yeah, we've done some marketing, but not anything that would be worth talking about, right? Like nothing that we could say, hey, look at what we just did. But having said that, I mean, we haven't done zero marketing. But most of the stuff that's coming in right now is literally word of mouth, friends hearing about it, the pack openings that are happening on the streams from the streamers. And I mean, it's infectious, you see guy pull it. Like one guy came in today, a brand new player, Blaze put him in from another project. Literally on the first pack, the dude pulls a black foil, like one of the hippo cards, like, first card, first pack.
He's hooked for life. That guy's
I mean,
hooked
he's like telling
Bam.
everybody in his guild and, I mean, in his other guild and his other, thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's, the product is good. We built a good product. The game is fun. Jangles, you know that more than me. And Jimmy, you played as well, on the test server. So the game is awesome. The structure of the packs, the economics, all that kind of stuff is all kind of like excellent, right? Like an excellent position. We've got land that is very supportive now. Instead of being a debt that we had, it's now support. Like we're now making things on land. Now people are like, holy cow, I need more plots, right? Especially grain plots and stone plots, right? So, things like that are very important. But you're right. It's definitely going to take some time. Like you don't just snap your fingers and make people fall in love with Splinterlands, right? It just doesn't happen. And the reason is because it's not a game for somebody putting $50 in, right? Like you put $50 in, you're not going to get very far. It's not exciting. It's not, challenging. It's frustrating. We're going to fix that, right? We're going to make it easier to play. We're going to make it more fun to play. We're going to make it a positive experience to play at that level, but we're not there yet, right? So until we get there, like I said, all this is good stepping stones along the path, right? But we still have work to do. So,
And we're on the right trajectory, I think, is what is very important. And I think most people feel that. You see it in Discord, you see it all over the place, that we finally feel like we are on the right trajectory. It's been something that's been struggled with for a while for many reasons, and now it feels like there's a plan that's coming to fruition. Years of work is finally clicking into place. We're getting there, that free to play modes, there's this tutorial coming, there's the campaign mode coming, there's going to be more free to play modes. And, we all believe here that free to play equals converts to paying players. And, it finally feels like we're in a really, 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 really good place. We're still really early to crypto. We're still really early to blockchain gaming, and we're going to have the best product that's out there as far as blockchain gaming goes, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the messages that I haven't talked that much about, so what better show than the People's Guild to ramble on about it. So, Jangles, if you don't mind, I'm gonna make this point. In the past, I think one thing that's held us back is that we fought against each other. So, for instance, the crypto bros would be like, nah, the only way to make this work is being a crypto bro, right? And then the Game Boys, would say, nah, the only way that's is going to work is to be a gamer. And then they would cut each other down. They would fight for mind share. The development was always split, like, kind of again, like, the old Bud Light commercials, taste great, less filling, and it's just wasted energy. And I think I think one thing that I really, 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 am make happen within the team, and I hope within the community, is this is a big tent, right? Like there's, we want the crypto bros, and we want the gamers, and we want the investors, and we want the collectors, and we want the casual players, and we want the moms, and we want the teenagers, and in other words, there's really not a group that I don't want, right? Like my tent is very big, because I can guarantee you, if you go fishing in a pond with a little bitty fishing rod, and you go into the ocean, and you try to catch like a whale, that's just very hard to do, right? Like it's just not easy to do. But if you are going for the small fish, you may stumble on the whale. And so, in my opinion, you're better off just bringing them in, just get them in. Don't, we've got so many things that appeal to so many people. I still, to this day, think that we should have liquidity pools for free-to-play players. And while that's on my list of things to bring up to the team, I actually haven't told any of them yet. So we're they haven't heard about it yet, but like that's something that, like, to me is like nobody knows. Like I can make 20% of my money. Like I don't think too many people even understand that, right? And in the real world, people are falling all over themselves to get 20%. And in our world, we like, hey, yeah, like we can do it. Why? Because we've been doing it for years, and it's like we just know, right? But the rest of the world doesn't know, and they don't know that they can come to Splinterlands and do that. So it's like things like that I say, geez, what an opportunity. Like we do it well, right? So let's start figuring out how to let people know about it.
Yeah, and that's further along the line.
Too bad, was it? I didn't ramble too much, did I?
Never did.
Well, it's it also backs the whole original concept of Splinterlands, is we want to get people into the crypto and push blockchain, and that's exactly what you just said, basically.
I love it, man. Splinterlands is such a good tool to introducing all of these other, we're going to see crypto and crypto related industry and technology change so many aspects of the world. And what better way to present all of this knowledge and all of these tools than through a sweet game. So I'm all about it, man. Yep. It's brilliant.
And I also think it's made me realize this too. I think part of the fighting you were talking about that we had experienced, a lot of that was self-inflicted, and it was part of the growing pains of having a DAO that, was trying to push self-governance. We had to, I think there were too many things that were proposals that really didn't need to be proposals. And as a result, there was a lot of infighting that actually didn't need to happen. But again, that was growing pains. That was like something we had to go through and learn to realize.
Yeah, I agree. And I said it all along, like we have to mature in a governance, as far as governance goes, because we started from scratch, right? Like nobody knew how it was going to work, right? Nobody knew how it was going to play out. But at the end of the day, that's what is SPS? SPS is governance tokens. Like people are like, now 5 guys, control so much, it's not fair. Well, I mean, everybody could have been one of those 5 guys. Those 5 guys just understood that it was a big deal, right? Like to be able to help make decisions. We're fortunate, in my opinion, that the people that did decide to ape in, so to speak, like to, really put serious money into the governance aspect, we're lucky that those guys want to see us succeed, that they're good-hearted, positive people in life, and in my opinion, like I don't even think we even realize how lucky we are as an organization. I mean, those guys are unbelievable. And yeah, they're not going to make every decision. Like even people in the team, like they'll say things like, yeah, we got money in the deck. Yeah, we've already doubled our money on the deal, but we're never going to spend it. The DAO's never going to let us spend it. And they like make it sound like that's a bad thing. But in reality, that's an awesome thing, right? Because the answer is, like, I've talked to these guys. It's not that they don't ever want to spend the deck. They just don't want to spend the deck until we're like, don't need to spend the deck, right? Like, it's like anything else, right? Like when you don't need to do something, like magically now you're rich, right? But if you spend every penny you get, on the way to getting rich, right, you'll never get rich because you'll lose all your capital. So, I mean, they're smart enough to know, like, protect your capital, protect the entity. And yeah, meanwhile, we put 600,000, we meaning the DAO, not we meaning the team. So I want to be clear on that. But, we as a DAO put in 600,000 for the set. We've already got our 600,000 back. We got 600,000 more. We actually got 200,000 more on top of that in the first 3 days. On top of that, we're getting packs. I mean, it's a sweet deal from a DAO perspective. Not only that, I will say this, like nobody's really said much. And again, I'm rambling again, Django. So you got to get a horn or something. But yeah, like buzz me out or something. But I'll tell you, those packs, I'm not going to go into the predicting business, like actually put a number on it. But I think that when these 300 days are up, people are going to really, really, really want to have packs. And guess who's going to have a lot of packs? The DAO, right? So who's the DAO? Everybody owns SPS. So at some point between now and 300 days from now, people are going to say, holy crap, look at what I own, right? Like I own a piece of the DAO and my piece of the DAO has X amount of packs. And now these packs are not $4 anymore. You can use your imagination of where they're going to go. And I think the number of arcanes sitting in Harry's bucket, or Gator's bucket, I guess is a better term than Harry's bucket, but Gator's bucket, the more that those high value cards are in there, the more those packs are going to be. So, I mean, it's a virtuous cycle. So at some point, I think people are going to buy SPS just because they realize the value of that SPS, meaning not just the deck, not just the SPS, not just the stable coins, but also the packs that we have. I mean, that's not even counting how many rebellion packs do we have? Anybody ever do the math on that? Like, do you guys know?
I think it's close to 1 million. I want to say. I could be wrong. Is that right?
Yep. Not exactly 1 million, but yeah, a little less than 1 million, but still, if you used 1 million at $4, that's roughly $4 million. I mean, that's not chump change, man. Now I know that the guys that want to argue about like, well, I want something now, are going to say, well, we're never going to, we're not going to give them out in tournaments, or we're not going to put them in loot chests. So what good are they? Right. Well, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think they could be pretty good. I mean, pretty sure the alpha packs were pretty good to hold, and they've given out some prizes, and people burned a lot of cards to get those things in the past. So I'm pretty sure we'll have that cycle again at some point. People are going to be saying, holy moly, I can get a rebellion pack, right? Like that'd be a big deal.
I think something that we've struggled with, and this goes back to what you were just saying, Jimmy, where we were we were subject to all this infighting, was there were so many problems with the here and now, with whatever moment of time we're looking at, pretty much post Splinterfest through till about 6 months ago, 9 months ago, somewhere in there. So there was a good stretch of time where it just felt like we were treading water. We were going through layoffs. We were so concerned about tomorrow and what is the survival of Splinterlands look like, that it's very logical, and it makes sense that we're going to have those guys like Dave just called out that are asking, well, I want my piece of the pie now, because at that point, there's a lot of folks that are convinced that there is no tomorrow for Splinterlands. However, as soon as we're adding additional modes and we're bringing in new players and we're seeing, fireworks to the extent that we just saw in this pre-sale, and there's massive, market aftermarket activity with, card trading. I know there's a bunch of stuff that's happening off of the market where it's just, hey, I'll swap you this card for that card. There's a lot of the positive behaviors that we want to see happening. And as soon as these things are occurring, the time horizon that we're able to look at Splinterlands, the ecosystem, and our sustainability and our ability to persevere this game, that's it starts to wash away the concern of the here and the now, right? We're able to start looking at, what does 6 months from now look like? What does 18 months from now look like? And that speaks really well to your point, Dave, when you're saying, well, maybe we consider looking at these rebellion packs as a revenue source for the DAO in 5 years' time. A year ago that would seem like, pie in the sky sort of logic to a lot of folks. Whereas now, as we're starting to see that confidence, come to fruition, and there's the belief that we're going to be here in 2030, it's a much more sound argument. And I think a lot of that infighting that we were talking about a few moments ago is just going to naturally dissipate as we don't have to be so concerned about, is the server going to shut off tomorrow?
Yep. Confidence is the word. You said it, and it was something Dave said a while ago, changing hope into actual confidence. And I think that's been a very palpable shift recently.
Yeah, it's when you boil it down, that's the market, right? Like that's how the market works. I've been doing it for 40 years, right? So actually this is my 40th year in the market, and you learn that along the way. Like they don't really teach you. It's just one of those things that you learn yourself by doing it for 40 years. And it really boils down to that. There's a difference between hope and confidence. Right? Hope, you think it can happen. You're going to hang in there. You're got your fingers crossed. You're, let's please happen. You pray, you do, you wear your lucky charms, you do all those different fun little things. And then there's a point where you just know, right? Like, like right now, if I said, hey, we're going to have 2,000 players a month from this point going forward, you guys would go out and buy like everything on the market. Like it wouldn't take you long to clean out the market, just you two, right? Not even counting everybody else out there. So you're not convinced yet that we're going to get a couple thousand players a month yet, right? But when you are, you're going to pull the trigger. Like the other day, Jeff opens cards.
I was just going to say that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was listening to a stream, something hit him. He was like a little more confident than he was before. And he's like, damn, I better get ahead of this. Right. And that's, you're going to see that happen more and more the more we execute. And that's really, boils it all down. We have to demonstrate that we're going to succeed. And in order to succeed, we have to get new players. And I said it the day I came in, and I'll be saying it 6 months from now, a year from now, like that's never going away. Like we're going to deliver a good product. You can just look at 7 years of what we've done. I was here. I have the advantage of being here before both of you guys and most of the people in the community. In fact, the same as some, but, everybody else more. It was literally just cards with no stats, right? Like we didn't know what summoners were. We didn't know what archons were. We didn't know what abilities were, sneaks, snipes, none of that stuff. And we've gone from that to this, right? And that's been an amazing accomplishment over 7 years, right? So that's all a good thing. But at the end of the day, one thing we forgot to do was pay attention to our funnel. We kept making a better and better game for the high end. And I try to explain it to internally, to our team. Like if I go and look at some of my competitors, like I do, right? So I went and said, like somebody says, this company's like really cool, right? They're doing well. I'm like, okay, let me go look at them. And then I go look at their sales. We do 3 times their sales. Like they're way better in terms of like number of people streaming, number of players they have every day, number of hits they have on their website, blah blah blah. Like they kick our butts right on that. But you know where we beat them? On sales. 3 times the sales. And the reason is because we're a premium game. You know, we built a premium game that appeals to guys that want to put 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 80,000, $100,000 into a set, right? Like those other games don't have that, right? So we built the premium game. We've catered to that premium player slash investor slash collector slash, DeFi guy, all those different things without really intending to do it. We did it, right? So that's beautiful, right? Like that I can market all day long, right? All we have to do is figure out like, okay, we did that well. Now, how can we take this premium game and figure out a way to get to the masses, right? Like, how can we leverage all those things we built that are awesome and let everybody in? Like, the guy doesn't have to put $20,000 to play the game. What about the guy that just wants to put $20 or $50? Do we want him? And I think that we got kind of spoiled at a certain point. I mean, maybe I would have too. I don't know. I doubt it. But, it's possible if I had $30 million in the bank, back in 2021, I would have said, I don't really care about those guys. Right. But at the end of the day, now we need those guys. Right. Like, we really always needed those guys. It wasn't apparent, right? Like it didn't seem like it was a big deal if we didn't have that guy putting in $20 or $50. But now, absolutely, people are like, yes. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, hell yeah, give us 1,000 people a month putting $20 in, and all of a sudden that starts adding up, right? And then you'll find the Brave Tofus, and you'll find the Buctuses and the Fat Jimmies and the Jangles. You'll find them, right? It's because there's life, there's activity. We've got a great product. People see, and they now have that confidence, right? And then when that happens, the investors pile in, the crypto bros pile in, and we never really have to worry about our game because our game at the high end is like unbelievably cool, right? Like, so we've got a lot of things really going well. We just needed to tweak a little bit the focus. So that's kind of where we are. And I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, it's good to see that coming. And it's good to see all this like creativity seems to be pumping into the game too. Like the whole Yabas Pickle thing and the methods of distribution. It's like we're seeing new things happening, and new exciting ways to distribute cards, for example. It's great to I know we talked about that a little before we started recording. You want to hit that up now?
Yeah, let's go for it. I want to hear what you guys think. We talked a little bit about it, but I'd like you to let's talk about it.
Bam, Yabas Pickle topic. Bam, topic of the minute.
Jangles, I think you're going to have to read the intro to that Blaze put out because I don't think I could read that.
The intro.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we get into it, man, I want to second Jimmy's comments. I think it's absolutely hysterical that the team put this out there, that it got traction, that it's coming to life. I don't want to embarrass Matt, but it was real funny to watch him squirm, like, with all the comments and the innuendos and the jokes, flying around on Discord during the town hall. And I think it's all hilarious. It's all in good fun. It's very fresh for Splinterlands. I don't, outside of maybe Furious Chicken, I don't know if there's ever been like a really kind of like goofy character card like this. So yeah, kudos to the team. The creativity getting flexed is just awesome. I can't wait to hear the lore on this thing. Nate and Joey kind of alluded to it being a great story. So yeah, with that said, yeah, let's dive into it. So Yabas Pickle release an arcane event. A brand new card is coming to Splinterland, and it's one of our most unique drops yet. Here's everything you need to know to get in on Yabas Pickle and the Arcane Event Series. There are 3 ways to get your hands on Yabas Pickle. The special SPS Stakeholders Pickle release.
Hold on. You kind of broke up there. Could you repeat that? Go back a sentence and start
The
it.
three ways,
There are three
to get your
ways
hands on
to get your
Yabas
hands
Pickle.
on Yabas Pickle. The special
Only,
SPS.
only three ways. Only three ways. That's a very important point to make out. You would think there would be more, but there's only three.
The special SPS stakeholders pickle release. Second opportunity is to purchase a pickle. Purchase a pickle. I feel like there's an opportunity for some funny alliteration there. Purchase a pickle that comes with a gold foil Arcana raffle ticket, and the third opportunity will be to participate in the black foil arcane auction. Yeah, so we talked about this stuff a little bit off air. We're kind of running through the article, and man, it's so cool to see. Historically, this would have been maybe a 30-day cycle, come and gone. All of a sudden, you guys have turned this into it's 100 days of fun, engaging different stuff. It's pulling different resources from different parts of the economy. It's DEC, it's credits, and then it turns into vouchers and land resources in addition to DEC, and then that moves into an amplified version of that. So it's very cool distribution, very cool kind of resource pooling and allocation here. It's getting everybody involved. Anybody who's here is going to be able to get their hands on this. We were talking about which of these assets are tradable and how each individual auction raffle is unique. Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing when this thing goes live, and it's a great card to boot. It's a solid kit. It's 4 mana. It could fit in a whole bunch of different use cases, and yeah. Jimmy, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Okay, so we were talking about this also beforehand. I was, literally almost gone for 2 weeks where I was just not engaged. So a lot happened in the 2 weeks where I was gone. So I'm playing catch up on a lot of this stuff. I know the pickle was also, I believe, just dropped in town hall.
Yep.
But yeah, I really like the way it comes out. I really dig the way it looks like the Canadians from South Park. Like, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it definitely has that look. Um, the distribution is awesome. Again, this is bringing a fun aspect, to the whole distribution. Again, I like the way that it's accessible to everybody. That's another great part of it, man. I think the last time we really had that was Vrooz, the Vrooz card. Then we had a lot of gated sales, but this is just awesome. This is accessible to freaking everybody. You got 1,000 SPS staked, you can buy a card. I love that metric. Yeah, that's
And
me
it's got a
rambling
chance
now.
of being a gold foil or a black foil.
I love that. Yeah, love that. Anyone you pull could be a gold foil, black foil. I like the whole crafting raffle tickets, yeah, that you could either keep for yourself or you could sell if you want to really bring in the whole blockchain thing to life.
What was the conversation like, Dave, kind of rounding out the distribution? I mean, was this a product of multiple folks' perspectives in terms of, hey, I want to shake up how these things are made available to folks, and you got a whole slew of good ideas and said, okay, let's do them all for different iterations of the release, or what? How did you guys land on this particular strategy here?
I've been trying to push for creativity because if you do something the same way all the time, people, they come to expect it, which is good in some ways, but it also creates lack of, endorphins, popping. So I really like to change things up. The other thing that I like to do is make sure that we develop more templates. So for instance, we just did the black foil potion. That I wouldn't say a hard lift, but it wasn't like easy. Like it took a while to do. Now we can do this card, we can make raffle tickets, and it literally will take hours, right? Like hours to make these, right? It's not a big deal at all because we have a template. So I'm a big person when it comes to templates, and not everything is going to work. Not everything's going to be fun. Maybe I'm the only guy that buys raffle tickets, and I own 50 of these, gold foil arcanes, right? So that's fine. I'll sacrifice and get 50 of those if nobody else buys a raffle ticket. But the point is, like, we definitely want to do a lot of that, right? Because the first time you do something, it's like I talked about the land card on one last week on one of the shows. Um, I want to make a card out of assets from land, right? And whether that card is a card for modern, whether that card's a card for wild or survival or brawls or land, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want people to know, like, hey, your land, those resources that you're making, those things can be used to buy stuff, right? Like, I want people to understand, like, that's a thing, right? And once they start understanding what's possible, now all of a sudden the minds are going to start moving. The suggestions are going to come. The number of people I talk to, like, on a daily basis would blow your mind. Like, typically, I bet you I have at least 3 community members that I talk to for at least an hour every single day of the week, like every week, right? Because they're energized, they're excited. Like, hey, what about this? What about a land card that can grant you special power to make more stone, for instance, and we make the card out of stone. I'm like, yeah, cool, great idea, right? Like, I want to hear those things, right? So I wouldn't say like there's any one person that came up with it. To some degree, I give Blaze a lot of credit because he gets a thought that's pretty good and he'll follow through on it, right? So I don't know if he actually came up with the idea or exactly who he talked to, but he was part of this process. And of course, if I like it, then pretty much you can bet I'm gonna push to make it happen as well. Like, there should be a good reason why not, right? Like, I'm a big believer that you can't reach your limits unless you try to reach your limits. And by definition, you always have to go over your limit to find out where the limit was, right? Like, if you're like, hey, I can only go, whatever, the next 15 feet, and you stop at 14 feet, how do you know you could only go 15 feet? Like, that's just in your head, right? You have to cross over that and go a little bit too far and then bring yourself back in if that's the case. So that's kind of my philosophy on everything, right? Like, so far you guys seem to be pretty happy with what we're doing. You can expect if you keep being happy with it, it's going to keep happening, right? We're going to keep coming out with new and more cooler and fun and great things, right? Like, none of it's ever out of control. Like, I know some people are like, you're going to go crazy, right? Like, all these ideas, you're going to go nuts. And like, no, I mean, I actually think through everything really, really hard. But having said that, I'm not afraid to take chances. So that's kind of how I look at everything.
Oh, it's like the Eagles said there, Jimmy. You take it to the limit one more time. Yeah. That's it, man.
Jimmy, I'm giving you some serious content, man.
Damn.
Yeah, man. It was actually the 3 of us. We hosted Yaba. It was damn near a year ago now. Going into
that was a year ago. That was like last month.
It feels like it. It does feel like it. But it was the 3 of us on the call, and we were talking about it was ahead of I think it was just after the promo card Hall of Legends thing had passed the proposal, and we were discussing
the cards. Yeah,
it was before the cards, but it was after the proposal. So we were we were brainstorming ideas around exactly this distribution, getting creative, offering fresh perspectives and new and engaging ways to bring the community in and get excited about these sales, and this is that precedent being set. So, Dave, I love that you're approaching this, and very, very quickly, shout out to Blaze. I'm glad that there was a stretch of time where there were pockets of the community that were kind of questioning Blaze's credentials and, is he the right guy for the job? He's absolutely nailed it. Everything that I've seen, all the time that I've spoken with Blaze and seen his fingerprints on this product, he's knocked it out of the park, and I'm glad that you shared that this was just another piece in Blaze's contribution to the future of Splinterlands. But yeah, with that said, Dave, I love that you're embracing the idea that maybe this isn't the right distribution, but we're trying it. We're not going to know until we get in there and see what the reaction is, see what the engagement is, and let's go back to the drawing board if it's wrong. And if it's right, let's double down and do something even bigger with this for some future promo cards. So yeah, I just love the precedent of new. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It just so happens that this particular card pickles my fancy, if you will. It's goofy as hell. Everything about it. I'm all about it.
And the fact that it's a daily raffle. When the raffle starts, it's not like there's one raffle for the whole thing. It's every day you have a raffle going on. And it's a new raffle every day. Yeah. You have to get different tickets. You could enter at any point. Which keeps it really exciting. That encourages daily engagement. Do you just go huge one day and try to win a raffle by overwhelming that one day, or do you just get a couple every day and see how you do? I don't know, but it's a great dynamic. Keeps it exciting.
Yeah, and the other part of that I actually haven't. Nobody's brought it up, but is the truth. The gold foil raffle is kind of like the everyday person can play, like anybody can win. It's pure luck, right? You of course you buy more tickets, you have more chances, but at the end of the day, anybody can win, and that was part of the pre-sale as well. And then the black foil auction is more for the whales, right? Like unless you're going to come in with a few $100 minimum, you're not going to win one of those with $5, right? So,
and I really like the auction element, and I like this auction element. Like, Heloise was a great introduction, but it introduced this, like, you got to have a lot of money, and you get this card that's actually, it doesn't change the game. It's not like if you have this card, you win, but it doesn't introduce kind of a pay to win element. This, you're auctioning, you can get a regular foil version of this, but the auction is for a black foil version. It doesn't affect the gameplay the same way Heloise did, but it still introduces that auction factor. I love the way that this is done, man.
Thanks. Well, one thing I want to say before I forget, because I certainly don't forget, kudos to Royal Eagle on this as well. Like if somebody's got a snapshot, like I said, Gold Matters takes little snips of the presentations or the podcast. I definitely think a big shout out goes to Royal Eagle, because he not only made the card in terms of like came up with the stats and what it should be, and then went to Bob and worked with Bob, or they call me Tim is what you guys call him, like his name. But Royal moved through the whole process of designing the card. He also was the guy who priced it. So he's the one that, like, he and Matt wanted one price, Royal wanted a different price. They came to me, what do you think? I'm like, I want you guys to figure it out. Like, this is, I want you guys to figure it out, right? And then between Royal and Matt, they came out and they hammered, the point. So Royal was like involved in that part of the process. And even more importantly than everything was when we first did the original Matt card, right? The one that's the legendary, that's very rare in packs that we haven't talked about, but is a kick-ass card. I can say ass too, right? Jangles?
Hell yeah, motherfucker, yeah. You can say ass on this show.
All right, so that's a kick-ass card. But when we first came up with that, Royal said, "Hey, that doesn't fit what the DAO's proposal was. The DAO's proposal was that we have an affordable card for the everyday person, right?" And so Royal Eagle was the one that insisted. Like the day we talked about the Matt Legendary card, he said it should be this card. And of course, whenever anybody gives me a good suggestion, different than the one we're talking about, they're going to find out many times. They're going to get like, that's a great idea. Let's do them both. Right. So that's kind of how that materialized. So, we started out wanting one Matt card, and we came up with two, and, they worked together. The team pulled it off, and it was completely kick ass. So yeah, Blaze deserves a lot of credit for pushing all this through, making it happen. And, like designing some of the mechanics of like the raffles and the auctions and stuff like that. But World deserves a ton of credit for how the card plays, how it's priced, and the fact that it even came in existence. So he doesn't get a lot of credit, but Royal's like, he's a star, man. That guy is.
Let's give him a song, man. He's got the fly, Royal Eagle, to the sea. Yeah, Royal Eagle, let my pickle carry me.
Yes.
Fly like Royal Eagle. Yeah. Rocking it, man. It's great to hear. And I love the way that the Yaba card is distributed too, man. Throwing it in packs. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone can love the fact that anyone has a chance to get that.
Yeah, what's funny is, like everybody's like, oh, you guys made too many Chaos Legion cards, right? And everybody's like, you made too many, it ruined the set, it's horrible. And then one of my friends, like really good friends, when he heard the distribution, he's like, I don't like it. I'm like, what? And he's like, nah, I really don't like it. And I was like shocked, because I would have thought like he would have liked it, right? Like, because it's limited, right? It's not easy to get. And I was like, why? And he goes, because I'll never get a max copy of one. I'm like, well, isn't that like the point, right? Like, if something's limited, right, you got to go kind of fight for it. It's not like, you want it limited for everybody else, but you, right? Like,
another idea.
Gotta make it. Yeah.
Dude, what about putting on, like, the way we're talking about community auctions? That was brought up in the town hall, I believe, where, if some community member pulls a great card, they could auction it off. What about the opposite, where community bids, where like a whale can say, like, let's say Matt wants to get that one of his own card, and he could put up a bid on the site that says, hey, I will buy this card for, $5,000 if someone pulls it.
Yeah, we get a lot of things like that happening. Just so you know, like those are ideas that are being floated around a lot. I think that would fit into the auction system. We also have ideas floating around, like Blaze and I have talked about bounties, like actually having either the DAO, talking to the DAO about doing bounties for certain things. Like for instance, you get a black foil and a black foil and a gold foil, the same card, that you pull, right? Not that you buy off the market, but that you actually pull, and having some kind of bounty for that. Anybody gets a full black foil set, right? Which is like super hard to get. Like maybe there's a bounty for that. Like there's all kinds of stuff we can do, right? So we're not really limited on what we can do in terms of, like anything can be done. It's just really a matter of like getting the ideas out there and then figuring out how to fit them in. Like I'm a pretty big yes guy. Like if I can figure out how to make like Brave Tofu's, all his stuff that he's done. I mean, that dude, like he's lucky, that I told him if he doesn't quit putting so many good things out there, he's going to be careful, because I'm going to draft him. And he's like, you couldn't afford me. And I'm like, okay, not yet. Right. But, at some point, I mean, that guy's mind is like incredibly good. So.
Yeah. No, I'm a big Yes guy too, man. That's one of my favorite bands on the planet.
Oh, really? Completely. I didn't even know that was a band. See?
Completely. Oh, dude. Oh, we got some. Okay, I'm going to make you listen to 20-minute epic tunes here in the near future.
Yeah.
Can we play it? Let's put on a 20-minute song for part of the show here and just make people
Have you watched Talladega Nights yet, Jimmy?
Yeah, I was gonna say until he.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Oh, no.
Ricky Bobby stabbing himself in the thigh. Right? Then you're dead to me until you watch that.
Until I watch. Okay, I got to sit down and watch this. Did you watch Easy Money yet, Dave?
Actually, no, I haven't. No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go.
I actually missed my brawls for the first time ever.
I just did that like 3 weeks ago too, Dave. My first time.
I mean, I really feel bad. I never missed a brawl, and I literally was so tied up yesterday and today that I didn't even see it until it was passed, and then I was like, holy shit! And embarrassed as I could be seeing all those red fleas.
Sounds like
So
we
what
need
does
to update the always on in-game notification system. Needs a little boost right there.
Yeah, mine's on. Mine's there, but I'm always on it
Mine's
so much.
mine's intermittent. Mine's intermittent. Like sometimes it works. I play two brawls on two different accounts, and
well
it's
that should
intermittent.
be
Sometimes it's
that
not
should be
there.
something that's solvable through the app, right? Like, and that's something else we should talk about is, uh, the App Store. It's already available in Google. It's coming for iOS, but you should be able to set up like brawl and tournament notifications to get pushed directly to your phone. So you get, a proper notification on your phone that says, yo, Dave, you're slacking on your brawls. You got an hour to get them in.
Yeah, I got to get. I need like the trumpets or something playing, like those little
Explosions.
bitty. Yeah, I need
Explosions and air
like,
horns.
dude, get off your butt and go play. Like it's got to be something like to wake me up. Like when I set my alarm in the morning, like I don't set one alarm, I set like 12 alarms. That's how I am.
12, like literally 12
Yeah,
alarms.
literally
That's awesome.
12
12
alarms.
alarm Dave. That's a new nickname too. We got the greaser and the 12
The
alarm
greaser.
Dave, or 12 alarm Dave the greaser.
Yeah, let's circle back to the Yaba Mat card, the legendary. I absolutely love the idea of being a part of the internal testers. We're out of NDA at this point. We never caught wind that this card was in the set, that there was there wasn't a dummy card in the set that we were testing, that this got replaced with at the last second. We didn't catch wind of this thing until the rest of the community did. So, I mean, credit to the team for playing it close to the chest. And I've yet to come across it either through pack opening or in gameplay. But it represents everything that you and Blaze have been talking about in terms of it's a true collector's item. It's scarce enough to where realistically not there's a good chunk of players that have, and I expect over the course of the next month we'll see that top 100 guys on the leaderboard. They probably got every single core card maxed out in Modern, Rebellion, and Conclave Arcana. This is not going to be one of those cards. It's just not available enough to make that happen. So there's going to be a lot of guys who end up just holding this thing as one BCX, not because it's a great card, but because it is a great collector's item, and it's just that scarce.
What's the mechanism again? So is it like, are there only a certain amount?
It's
Yeah.
1,500, right?
1,500 single BCX
1,500
regular
single-
foil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like
Wow.
30 gold foils. And then there's like 5 arcane gold foils, 1 arcane black foil, and 5 regular black foils. So there's
Wow.
not.
And these are all in the bucket. Like you got to
Yeah.
hit that bucket and then
Yeah.
you maybe pull a Yaba mat out of there.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
And
Awesome.
something else that goes along with the collector stuff that we've really seen come to light with Conclave Arcana, and this is something that I wasn't really aware of immediately when I first started popping packs and looking at cards and stuff, is the variant history that's available on every single card page. So for those of you that do not know, when you click into a card on your item collection, top left, just underneath items and market, there is a variant history, which you can look at all of the minted gold arcane, black foil, and black arcane, and you can see the date and player and mint number historical data for each. So you guys went, well, I say you guys, but we, Splinterlands, went from absolutely zero real, kind of collector aspect data to it's full blown now. You can track all this stuff. You can see who popped what, who minted what. I would love to be able to, click into the card. For example, mint 1 on Jikarilla. That's what I happen to click on. It's the original black foil was minted by Blaze. If I could click on the card and see, the history and what it traded for, and Oh,
You
can
didn't
you?
know,
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know about the traded part, but you can definitely see the minted part. You're in front of your computer, right?
Yep.
I go to the shop, go to Conclave Arcana. I want to show you something. And Jimmy, you do it too, because I don't know if you guys have seen it. Go to shop,
okay.
go to the Conclave Arcana,
Okay.
pack sale part. Then
Okay.
go to Conclave prizes.
Ah, yep.
Hold on, I'm getting there's that scroll.
Oh, there it
You're
is.
not too far down,
Conclave
halfway through.
prizes. Pre-sale information. Oh, there it is. I see
Right
it.
below set overview.
Yep, got it. Okay.
Check that out.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty awesome.
that's Gator's bucket. So you can see at any time what's been pulled, what hasn't been pulled in real time.
That's cool.
Oh, and here's
Tell
the
me.
Yaba stats. So
Yep. Go all the way to the bottom.
71 of 1541.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And it shows like how many regular. So there's been 68 regular pulled, 3 golds, 0 arcanes, 0 black foil.
That's
Bam.
pretty cool.
See, that's where I want to
Okay.
see if people put up bids and bounties. Say, I want to buy Yaba cards. I'm going to pay $250 a pop. If you pull one, I'll buy it right now.
Yep. Now click on let's go
Awesome.
to the Cave Wise Wayfinder.
Cave Wise Wayfinder.
Where is in the list?
Oh, yep. Okay.
Click on the number.
On the number?
Yeah.
Which
Not
number?
alphabetical. Where is this thing?
Well, any of the numbers. Just click into the number area, like 4 out of 50.
You're looking on the
I'm-
Jackpot Prize overview?
I'm clicking. I don't see anything, Dave.
Okay. So, all right, let's see. Maybe the top one's easier. All right, let's go to the very top, Buttercup Mauler.
Okay.
Click on Gold Arcane.
Yep.
Tells you who pulled which one.
Yep. You can see exactly what number, who pulled it.
the date.
Herdinium pulled number
Yeah, that's
5
awesome.
on May 13th.
And look
Bam.
above that, you can go from toggle between Gold Arcane, black, and the
Yep.
Black Arcane.
That is badass.
So you can see exactly who's got what meant.
Yeah,
By
that's
the
very
way,
cool.
On the Buttercup Mauler, just look at number 6, and that is one bad witch down there.
Yeah, I was going to say you pulled number 6 there, Jimmy.
And I got number 8.
Oh, and number 8 and number 9.
Whoa!
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Damn. How
Yeah.
many you bought a lot of alchemy packs, right?
I like that nickname for you a little bit better, Dave. Buttercup. You greasy buttercup.
The greasy
Yeah.
buttercup.
But
Greasy
tell me
Buttercup.
that like these guys aren't amazing, right? Like
This is so cool. Yeah.
I mean,
No, this is awesome. This is fantastic to see just this stuff happening.
yeah.
And yeah, we're
I mean-
finally hit that point, with the God, what the hell were they calling it again? The
Flexible.
changing everything over to the modern. I can't even remember the name for it now. Total brain fart. Old
Changing
website
everything?
to the website. From the old website
Tech
to the new web-
modernization.
Tech modernization.
Tech modernization. Yes. Now that that's finally complete, all this stuff just kind of gets worked into the system.
Yeah.
And this
I mean,
is just
it's-
the beginning.
And by the way, these guys do this kind of stuff on their own too. I mean, like Blaze and I said, hey, it would be really cool if we could see it. But I mean, is it a high priority item? I mean, no. Making sure that we have it was a high priority item. Making sure we can see who had what was like cool if they could do it, but it wasn't like high priority. So they knew we wanted it, but we didn't have to go through any. They did this whole thing on their own. They designed the screen, how to navigate through it, how to display it, all the way it visually looks. I mean, it's just top of the line, man. These guys are unbelievably
Yeah.
good.
Yep. And it's just showing, what blockchain can do. It's
Yeah.
all there. You just got to
Yeah.
tap it. It's awesome. It's so cool to see this. I had no idea that was there. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Black Arcane.
Yeah,
Ooh.
what's really cool is I mean, unless it's changed, only one of one has been pulled.
I saw
Yep,
that.
I see
It's
it.
great, gray brow.
Yeah, which is cool that it's been done. In fact, I tell this to everybody, and they always laugh. I don't know if you guys will laugh, but somebody's like, like, do you want to see the gold or the black foil arcanes pulled? The one on ones. I'm like, yeah. If I open them, like, I definitely want to see one.
Right.
If I don't open them, absolutely not. Like every day that goes by, I'm like, yes, no black foil arcanes have been done, right? Unless I'm opening packs, then of course I want them. But because the reason is because the longer it goes, those
Higher
suckers
chance.
in there, then people are gonna like, hey,
Hmm.
today's my lucky day, or hey, I'm gonna go buy a couple thousand packs because these cards are embedded somewhere in there, right? And I mean that's
Hmm.
gonna be a thing. I mean, people in the real world, people pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for boxes of cards for reasons like that. I mean, I'm not saying our
Yeah.
packs are going to go for hundreds of thousands, but I'm saying, that those are the kind of things that do happen. They're like, so I can tell you, me, like Matt is always talking like he wants a black foil full set. Like I don't want a black foil full set. I mean, of course, I would take it if somebody gave it to me, but I can tell you like my goal is besides getting as many cards as I want. Like I'm going to continue that. I'm also going to build some decks for scholars, right? Like some of my scholars, but then the next thing I'm going to do for 300 days is I'm going to be continuing to figure out how I can just sock away packs just to hold. Like I still have alpha
Yeah.
packs, I still have beta packs. Like I would love to have a couple thousand of these packs just sitting there gathering dust 5 years from now. When I'm
When
on
there's
my
still ones of ones in them that you
yeah,
could
yeah,
pull.
and like yeah, can you
Yeah.
imagine? Yeah,
Oh, I can imagine. It's freaking fantastic. Love it. Love the whole chase thing, man. It's a serious thing. It's good to see us catching up with the whole pack project potential.
I actually love seeing that Yabas cards trading for over $200. That was something that surprised me. Like
No, not me. That makes
I knew it
sense.
was a
That
big
makes
deal,
sense.
but I mean that's really cool that
Hmm.
people are trying to buy. Like I said, one person was like he wasn't happy because he's not going to get a max copy. And I was like, well, I mean, you can get a max copy, you're just going to have to pay for it, right? And
Yep.
so
Put up
that's
the bids.
actually
Bid
happened.
page. Bid page. Bam.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, people would put up the bids. Guarantee it. Some guys can be like, I'll pay 250. I'll pay 300 for a freaking Yaba Mac card if you pull one right now. That's
Yep,
incentive. That's
definitely.
incentive.
That would be a very cool achievement to unlock too. The first guy to hold a max Yaba card.
Ooh, yeah. You should get a title for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
First
what I'm
one
saying.
people
Like,
can
I mean,
combine.
these are ideas that, like, obviously the team can only do so many things, right? Like, for instance, we're paying for survival mode to get it going, right? So, like, that's 900,000, SPS like every season, right? So we can't do everything, but like the DAO could do that, right? Like, you guys can get together and come up with like, hey, why don't we set some bounties here or some achievements that people can hit and put a little SPS or something behind it, or
Hmm.
go to the DAO and say, can we make a title for that? Like it doesn't always have to be us that comes up with the idea is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But
Hmm.
having said that, I do agree that sometimes it is better to not just write a proposal out of the blue. Like sometimes it's better to actually try to get consensus first. Like I think that's one thing we have matured on is that if you notice our proposals are passing with high vote totals because people are taking the time to, check like, hey, what do you think? If you don't like it, how can we improve it? And that kind of stuff is now being done more than what was done, early in the process.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So Dave, what is the internal thinking around, I know there was watching a whole bunch of the streams on day one of the CA release, and I think I shared with you a couple of questions that I know came across my mind, and I think some folks made comments on the live streams. Looking at the variant history, the mint history, the fact that here we are on what, day 5, day 6 of Conclave being out there. There's been an absolute shit ton of packs that have been opened, and we've only opened one of one. I think that puts a lot of folks' minds at ease in terms of, wow, there's way too many black foils getting minted. It feels like we're kind of subject to feeling a little bit biased towards, you're seeing all these notifications on that first day, everybody's celebrating in tavern, you're looking at the market, there's some really smoking deals. We talked about it off air, available for some of these cards. And I saw Vet V, shout out to Vet V, he asked the question of, essentially a black foil common replacing, essentially hundreds and hundreds of packs worth of purchases. Are we keeping a close eye on all of this stuff and how it's panning out? And as we progress through the sale, are we, because obviously this is the first time we've done this, and it's very different from what we've done in the past. And the black foil represents, like to Vet V's point, it represents 400 individual BCX for a common that no longer need to be captured, and combined to achieve that max copy. So what kind of metrics are we looking at to gauge the success of all of this stuff as we progress through the set?
I actually had a similar conversation with Tails earlier today. I think that I took him back in time to the original alpha days when we first came out with alpha gold foil or alpha gold foils, right? Like when we first did the set, there was no gold foil. We had pictures on cards, and then not until they had stats and were playable and we were playing them and everybody was all excited, and somebody in the community said, hey, we should do gold foils. Like that's a standard thing to do in the industry. Back in 2018, of course it was. And then it built momentum. Like I was for it. There was a lot of guys, Gold Matters. I mean, there was a lot of guys that were like, yeah, do that. So they were like, okay. And they actually airdropped them. Like literally however many packs you had bought, they just assumed that, they were in there as of that time. And I forget which one I got airdropped, but I got something good like an air elemental or something like that, which, is an awesome card, right? Like now it's, I don't know, a few $100s, like $500-600. But that was a big deal. But what was happening is the packs were still the same packs, right? So when you put the gold foils in there, then what happened was the value transitioned to those high value cards, right? Like everybody wanted them, like they were new, right? So who doesn't want the rarest, coolest, prettiest things, and at that time, the only value they had other than being beautiful was that they could be used in tournaments, like specifically had gold foil tournaments. So, back then we had like $4,000 and $5,000 like Selenia skies and stuff like that. Like it was higher than I think it was today, maybe not today, but for a long time, right? Like it peaked when it first came out. And what happened was then the commons and the rares and the regular foils, like nobody wanted them, right? Like they wanted the gold foils, right? Like here's these cool new shiny things that, were way more scarce. So I as a player was like, well, I'm not spending $4,000 on a card. At least this was back then, right? Like, I just got here, right? I doing Steam a little, so I take the money that I got from, whatever we did on Steam, whether it's posting or bid bots or crap like that. But, at the end of the day, I just took whatever money I had and I would just buy some cards. And it wasn't $4,000 at a clip. It was like, $2 at a clip kind of thing. So I
Twisted
wasn't about
jesters. You're buying twisted
Yeah.
gestures. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's what I was
bam.
going to say. Those twisted gestures, I paid a nickel, like literally a nickel, because nobody wanted them, right? So, I don't know what they are now, but let's say $2, 250. That's like 50 times higher. You know, were those gold foil alphas at 50 times higher than the 5,000? Like, not today, right? Like, right now, the gold foil has not outperformed the regular foil because sentiment shifted, right? So, all the focus goes to one thing, then the value goes to that one thing, and it kind of sucks the value out of something else, because when you're selling a pack, it's the same damn pack for the same damn money, right? So if the gold foils are more expensive, then the regular foils have to be less expensive. That's just kind of how it works. And we had that dynamic. That was a big dynamic for a long period of time, and we called them pack strippers back then. Like, that's what they would do. They would literally go buy like 100 or 200 packs. I forget the limit that we had back then. I think it was 100. And they would go open 100 and literally looking just for the gold foils. And then they would just dump everything else. And then we had alpha commons like at a penny, the alpha rares at like a nickel. The epics were like 15 cents. I mean, they were just dirt cheap, right? Because that's what the pack strippers were doing. Well, boom, fast forward a couple of years, no more pack stripping, because packs aren't, $2 anymore. Now they're $40 or $50 or $70. And now all of a sudden, everybody's that took advantage of that opportunity to buy cheap, was loving life, right? Like, I got a chance to buy like really cheap stuff back then because of that dynamic. So I think it's the same thing that we're going through now. In fact, I'm positive it's the same thing we're going through now. So yeah, there's going to be distortions because we're still selling a $4 pack, right? So the regular foils are going to be cheaper as people want the more shiny, fully maxed, black foil, right? So that's going to naturally make the price of the other stuff a little less, but it's to be expected because there's no way to make it where the stuff you buy is worth more than what you paid for it, right? Because
And that also throws
we sell out.
accessibility. That also
So what?
gives accessibility to people too.
Yes.
The cheaper, the less desirable stuff is affordable, so more people can get into the game.
But I would even argue it's not even less desirable; it's just different, right? Like that was.
Oh yeah.
Like
That
it's
wasn't the right
different,
term,
right? Like,
yeah.
of course, I love
But you could still play with it.
Foil, the alpha gold foils. Like, give me those alpha gold foil legends today, and I would like love them, right? But you pick your spot. Like I try to buy things when they're on sale, right? So if something's hot, I'm usually going the other way. I'm going to the thing that's cool. But I realize it's like a teeter totter. One's up, one's down. It's just math, right? Like you can't like have everybody wanting these cool arcanes, for instance, and not have that suck value from somewhere because the pack is still $4 no matter what, right? Like if we didn't have the arcanes, like I heard some people arguing, and I'm not saying this is Vet B, by the way. So I don't know exactly who's saying what, but when I was talking to Tails, I know they were attributing it to him, and I was like, look, I'm not even arguing with your point because I actually agree. Meaning, yeah, if we're going to do these really cool, shiny, beautiful arcanes that are limited to like 1-of-1s and 1-of-5s and stuff like that, well, people are going to want to pay a premium for that. Like, they're not going to be the same price as a regular foil card. It just isn't going to happen. So whatever that price that gets ascribed to that over a large number of packs is going to take that $4 number and make it go more than $4. So the only way to counterbalance that is something's got to go down in value, right? Like, and typically it's either going to be gold foil, or it's going to be the regular foil, or it's going to be the commons, or it's going to be the legends. There's going to be some shift because a $4 pack is still a $4 pack until there's no more $4 packs, and then everybody's going to say, "Oh, I should have bought." I should have bought when they were cheap, right? Like, how many times do we say that?
And it's realistic though. I'm looking at commons here for Conclave Arcana. You got 0.054 cents is the cheapest one. Commons go all the way up to almost 10 cents a common. So, I mean, you're still looking at, the cheapest common, if you want to max it and buy it off the market, $22. You know, that's not crazy. That's not like dirt cheap either. That's fairly priced at the moment. Hope, that'll obviously go down a little bit as the set goes on. Maybe, the staking mechanisms come in with the wagons. So who knows? And no, and that's not even accurate. That card that has 0.054 cents, there's only two of them. Before you know it, it's a 6 cents card. You go a couple pages in, it's a 7 cents card. So shit's not even too cheap at this point as a result,
Yeah, that's what's happening is you're having the market work, man. We have a beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful economy. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think people even understand. Like I literally bought 36 packs and opened them, right? Of the starter packs I'm talking about, just to try to get some cards for my scholars. So I bought 36 of the starter packs just because I had $36 in my $36 worth of deck in my wallet, right? So I went out and bought 36 of them. I'm like, I don't think I did that well, right? Like I only got so many summoners, like maybe 8 summoners, and I was like, well, I mean, they are priced over $1, which is cool, but I don't think I did well. So then I go to Peak Monsters and I look at the value, and guess what? It was worth $38. So I paid 36. I evidently did a little better than the average because it was worth 38, at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are good, meaning these guys in the ecosystem are good. You don't have a situation where you go spend $36 and on a big scale, it's worth like $50, right? Like, no, it's you're going to spend money on $1 packs. Those prices are going to be right around $1. You're going to spend money
rolling
on
the dice,
$4
on the
packs
average.
on a lot, right? Like, yeah, you go
Averages out.
Yep, you go
Averages
buy
out.
1,000. It's 1,000 of those $24 packs. You can bet your cost, your value of your account's going to be roughly 24 grand, plus or minus a small variance. That's just how it works until we go out of print. And the cool thing though is what we've done is we created demand, right? Like we like go back to Rebellion, right? Did anybody like in the middle of the set after the
conflicts stop?
Yeah, after the conflicts were over, was anybody going out and like saying, "Ooh, I'm going to go buy all these," right? Like they didn't, right? Because they didn't have any like $1,000 cards in there or scarce cards that you get. So there was like no speculation, no collectibility. Like I want to own, like when these black foils go into Matt's account, like they're there for good, right? So he paid $1,800 for one of them the other day. That's $1,800 that like that's locked in a vault, right? Like that money goes back into the economy, but Matt's not going to be putting it back out. So that's where collectors come in and really, really help your demand over time. And again, they can't ever help the demand more than the $4 until the set's out of print.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. It should be accessible while it's in print to as many people as want to come in and join. And then once it's out of print, you're hoping that you are getting enough new players that demand is on a constant increase. That's going to drive the value up of every out of print set. Exponentially, hopefully, as time goes on. And we're already seeing that with alpha versus beta versus untamed, versus chaos. It's a tiered structure.
We're also seeing that, like deck is 0.9924 right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Everybody was like, we're going to go right back down. Like, why we are, because in the past they didn't understand the flywheel, seemed like some mechanic that was done. And sometimes I think, they all like, hey, we can go make this happen. In reality, like it's not like one person makes the flywheel work. It's creating demand for your product that people want to reach in their pockets and buy, right? That's the flywheel, right? Create demand for your product, and that's the flywheel. So, it's not that magical, except for the magical part is like we if we double demand from where we are right now, where's that going to be? Where's it going to come from? Like, it's only going to come from SPS. Well, guess what? Like, a lot of people think SPS is too cheap to sell their SPS, right? So
Yeah, I'm not selling SPS. Well, actually, I sold a little bit to buy some promo cards. I
that's what I'm
lied.
saying.
A little bit, just a little bit. And I feel bad about it. I'm like, what the hell am I selling SPS at a penny? That's stupid.
But that's the point, right? Like,
Yep.
if you think about it, like, everybody who wanted to do it did it, right? Like, everybody who said, hey, SPS, it's, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. I want to have some cards. I want to get some cool stuff. So they did it, right? Like, okay, that's cool. Are they going to do it again?
Because it
Maybe.
has utility. That's another great thing of it. It's not
Yes.
just governance, there's utility.
Right.
It's-
So
yep.
yes. So that's my
You have to
point.
make difficult decisions with what you're
Or
getting. Yeah.
bring money into the game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they bring money in the game, what happens is the team does it. Like, that's the part that I don't think they understand is when we run out of deck, we have to go make deck. So we go buy SPS and we do the deck. So
Burning.
that's the part that is magical, right? But the big thing is it's not ever going to happen until we create demand, right? Like, demand is what drives the flywheel, period.
Yep.
And I think
demand is-
we're in a good spot of making that happen. So, we're getting there. Now, all we got to do is get, like, 100 times more of us, and then we're there.
Yeah, 100 times more of us. We got 3 cents SPS, baby. Yeah.
Oh, we even have more than 3 cents SP. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, I know it, man. I know it.
This
Waiting for that
this feels
day.
like a good pivot point, Dave, and you touched on it a fair bit in the town hall. We're talking about the ongoing demand, the product backed stable coin, the consistency of DEC holding peg. I've been keeping an eye on SPS over the last handful of days. I can't remember a time outside of like leading up to a pre-sale, or there was something coming that put constant buy pressure on SPS. SPS hasn't budged. It's been sitting at 1.15, 1.14, 1.16. It's stabilized right in that really small little range over the last 5 or 6 days. And I think, just as much as everybody was saying, oh, DEC is going to plummet from peg again, blah, 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 SPS is going to go back under a penny. Yeah, I call bullshit. I think we've got a good formula here, and in conjunction with all the collector stuff we were just talking about, with the goofy ass pickle card and all the cool like influencer stuff that's happening. Like, there's so many things that are cooking in the kitchen at the moment that are to coin or to call out the phrase that Vet V brought on once upon a time, a long time ago. Marketable moments. Like, we've got all of these little very cool elements that are coming to full fruition at this point in time. We've been talking about all of them for years. We're just finally seeing them come to fruition. So I want to take a peek inside your mind, Dave, in terms of when you're starting to think about you and Blaze are chatting through what does let's assume that we've got the all of the tiles on the homepage that we want with respect to challenges and practice mode, and we've got campaign mode, we've got foundation stuff. Blaze let it slip that the partnership with YGG is going live tomorrow, my time, the 18th. You called out that you've got some pilot stuff going on in the background that we weren't really ready to get into the nitty gritty and detail outline for the community. Let's assume that all of this stuff is in the rear view. How are you and Blaze kind of envisioning, what do we market first? Or how do like, what is the best way to position Splinterlands from, purely an advertisement perspective for prospective new guys?
Well, there's multiple things that we sell, right? The simplest thing is games, right? Like, we're game, right? So that's the part that everybody's kind of used to. The other stuff, like we talked about liquidity pools, we talked about, just straight investment, right? Like all our tokenomics, right? Like just owning a piece of SPS, right? Then we have the guild brawls and all those kind of things. And, what's going to attract the new player, in my opinion, has got to be fun. I don't think it can be SPS or deck. So I'm eliminating that from the conversation. So whatever we do, we're going to continue to like build our system in the way we have. But then it's kind of like what I told you about what I said to Nate, when we needed to do something, I was like, no, we're not going to not do those things, right? But I want to do this too. So what do you need? So it's kind of the same thing. Like we're not going to drop the ball on land, or we're not going to stop making cards, or, forget about, doing fun things. I mean, as you can see, we're pumping out the fun things pretty hard and pretty fast. But the core mission is going to be to bring the new people in. And in order to do that, obviously we're going to lean on our strengths in the beginning, which is going to be their entry as a gamer, into the game, because, at least what we're known as is a TCC game. But, obviously we're going to work on the collectibility part. We've actually had one meeting already. And the title of it is non-SPS pricing. Like, what can we give out that's not SPS that people are going to like? Or what can we create? Like, sometimes it's a prize. For instance, it could be background music. It could be a car, a non-playable card. It could be a land card. It could be all kinds of stuff, right? Or it could also be like fun, right? Like something that comes out and pops, like your video that you did of the gameplay, where it's just a mode where like funny, silly stuff comes out there, like whoa and dude, and just like fun stuff, right? And then people play because they enjoy that, they laugh, they feel part of it. The guilds are going to be a part that we're going to lean on. So we're going to lean on all these different aspects, but we have to have a landing spot. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to fully be effective until we have a landing spot. That's just my personal opinion. So yeah. I hope we do, right? Like I hope it, like we're going to get some new people coming in, like you were talking about the YGG thing. That's happening. So you're going to see some little, green hearts in Discord, and hopefully everybody welcomes them in and is nice and, friendly, and delegating them cards and asking where they're from and making them feel good and all that stuff. And a certain percentage, we'll keep, right? But at the end of the day, that's just like warm-ups, right? Like that's not even the first inning of the first game. That's just like getting a taste of what's coming, right? And we're going to measure those metrics. We're going to see what the retention rate is. We're going to ask questions like, how long did they stay? Why did they leave? Like we're going to ask those kind of questions, because those are things that you can't ignore, right? You can't just say, well, hey, to hell with them, right? If they don't like our game, like you can't say that. That's just crazy, right? Like you have to say, like, why are these people leaving? Why are the people that are staying? What do they like? What they don't like? So we have more ghost card tournaments, like things like that. That's a perfect example. Like we're starting another round of the Scholar Showcase, right? And that's going to be something that we're going to encourage the people with money that buy cards and buy these, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 decks, right? To find people that don't have 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, but are excellent players. And we're going to try to develop a system that kind of puts the scholars on essentially showcase, right? We're going to showcase them so that the people that have these cards have somebody to play those cards and get a decent return on them. So it becomes a win-win, right? So like stuff like that is ongoing. Other stuff we're going to be doing, for instance, is like we have an incredible group of streamers, starting with Bulldog, who, missed his calling in life. Like he should be one of those like Kardashian type people, like, that like everybody listens to. I mean, he's just really good on camera and, just got a good knack for it. There's like 40 or 50 different, you know, people that are out there like telling people, like I'll call them influencers. So they're like our influencers. And the one thing that Blaze and I have had a lot of conversations with, and we're trying to get the word on, is we want authentic influencers. Like we don't want the guy who was selling, blue tires, right? Like yesterday. And then today he's hawking Splinterlands because we paid him 20 grand, right? Like we want a guy who legitimately feels that Splinterlands is a great game. And we want to manage those guys. We want to help those guys, like tell our story, get the word out. So
Well, that's why you and Blaze are so good too, like such good fits, because both of you guys came from that. You guys came from the community and you love Splinterlands. And that's kind of driving the both of you, and you're accessible. Both of you are very accessible. Before you were been in this position, Dave, you would, for you just listen to the community. You take the time to do it. So does Blaze, man. And when he first got the position, it was at a time where literally the future of the game was in question. People were questioning what's our runway, what's going on. He took the time and, not just with myself, with other people, where he had sat down and had conversations with community members.
Yep.
About what's your concerns, where are we going, where are we headed? People would ask, what do you want to do? I don't know. It was just that accessibility, and it came from that love of the game, and that connection to the community. So
take a quick scroll through the Conclave Arcana presale leaderboard. I think every scroll of the wheel on your mouse, you're going to see a team member's name. Nate is there, Gator's there, Blaze is there, Dave's there, Eagle, Lily. I mean, you just go down the line and everybody, to your point, to both of y'all's points, that passion, that organic, authentic, genuine passion, it's no longer sales when that exists. It's no longer I have to sell you on something when that's, the perspective and the lens through which we're viewing this stuff. And I think, to further along what you were saying, Dave, I think we've got such a solid group of guys who have already made themselves a name for themselves in, the quote unquote influencer space. For Splinterlands, and we've got guys that represent all demographics, whether they want to play at bronze level, they want to play at champ level. We've got a little something for everybody. And that, I appreciate that you guys are prioritizing authenticity and, a very high degree of folks coming from the right place to represent Splinterlands. I think that's, it's true to the community, it's true to the company, to the employees, and it's you reap what you sow. It's gonna pay massive dividends.
Yep, yeah. I agree. I mean, that's why I got excited, when I had the opportunity, because I knew the infrastructure was there. I knew the I call them tools. The tools were available to make it happen. We just hadn't kind of put it in the right spot, right? Like we haven't completely figured out like how to use them correctly, but
it wasn't greased properly. It wasn't greased properly at the time, but it's closer now. The Splinterlands is more greased. I just realized black foil is the color of grease in the Splinterlands. It's the perfect combination there. Dave, I did want to ask you something about, did you mention like land cards? Was that in the town hall, like something specific, like cards that will be specifically?
I mentioned them. I don't have any idea where. I mean, I've done so many of these shows. I now forget. Like, remember,
is it theoretical or is it coming? Is this something that's happening? Because I am buying cards, man. I'm literally choosing to spend more money on land right now. Yeah.
I'm going to explain it. we are going to do cards that are produced from land resources at some point in the not too distant future. When I say that, I mean not next week, not even a month from now, right? Like it's on the drawing board as something to do, but it's not like imminent, right? Like there's been no programming,
Right.
and no agreement on exactly what to do. The only thing that I know is it makes sense. There's no reason not to do it. Matt's okay with it. The players would love it. So sure, when we figure out like priorities, like what's going to happen the next step, and maybe this will help.
Okay.
I just got my new, energy here at, 12:17 at night here at Jingles. But what's going to happen is we're going to have a meeting. We're going to plan out the next 6 months, right? And in that planning meeting, we've got all these ideas, right? So Dave's got ideas, Legal's got ideas, Gator's got ideas, Matt has ideas. So we're going to throw them all on one big spreadsheet, and then we're going to talk about them, and everybody's going to kind of pitch their thing, right? So like Nate, when he was asked yesterday, what do you want? And he said he would like to have the
Avatars.
Avatar. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. But so yeah, the Avatar. So maybe that's Nate's thing, right? Like, so, Joey may say, that's horrible, Nate. I don't want that. I want a lore story book, right? Like, whatever the case may be, they're all going to pitch it. Everybody's going to have a chance to weigh in, right? And then me and Matt are going to go back and we're going to like say, all right, all these ideas, right? These are things we care about. These are things we would love to do, but we don't have, all the bandwidth to do everything. So some things aren't going to make the cut. Other things will. I can tell you, I'm pretty confident that when I say that we're going to have a card made out of resources and land, I'm pretty confident that's going to take place because I understand the importance of that, right? So even though it's been talked about, there's been no like, hey, yeah, it's green lit, it's there, right? Like we haven't put it in its spot. But I can just tell you from a common sense standpoint, it's like I knew that
it makes sense.
I knew that the refractor of the black foil was going to be a big hit, right? So I wasn't taking no for an answer, right? Like, if somebody said like, what do we really need refractors for? Like, why do we need now they're called arcanes. Like we already have the black foil. Why do we need the arcanes, right? Like, well, I could list off a list of 50 reasons why. And so therefore, right, like it was not going to be likely that was going to be overcome, right? Because I was very clear of how important that was. And it's kind of the same thing when I'm talking about like making a card from land resources. Like, I mean, possible that, I'm way off, like, and somebody convinces me, but it's not likely, right? Like, it's going to be, it should be a relatively high item. And again, I'm not saying this week or this month even, but in the near future, right? Like you can see kind of our planning process. Like when we did the raffle and we did the auction, when we did the minting of those cards, I mean, we're talking 30 days, 50 days, and 20 days, or 30, 50, and 20. So you're talking 100 days. So that's basically 3 months. Right. So for 3 months, that's, in my opinion, like in the hopper, right? Like that to me is a reasonable amount of time. Would a land card come, like before that or after that or during that? I don't know, but it's not like going to be next year. I'll put it that way. It will be something.
And it's still speculative. Like what I was kind of asking was the land card going to be intended to be used on land? Or that's still up in the air?
Yeah, that's one of those things where, like, I probably always talk too much, right? So, which is okay. Like, I'm new. They give me some latitude, right? So if I spill a little alpha, that's okay. But I can tell you that, I do know that in conversations I've had with people, everybody has a good thought process on where it's good. Like oh, this would be great on land that we could make this card produce. We could come up with an ability to like increase the stone production and create this big stone card, that you get. Somebody else will say, nah, it should be in ranked play and that's the best way. And other people will say, nah, it should be in survival, or oh, we need something in guilds. So everybody's kind of got a different view. My position is all of the above, right? So
Yes.
I don't really care which one goes first, right? So that's going to be more of a, hey, let's vote, right? Or let's
Spin the wheel.
Yeah,
Spin the wheel, baby.
I mean, I
Make
don't
the
know if
deal.
it's in the wheel, but my point is, I don't really think you can go wrong with any of the above. Like every single one of those would be a great use of it. And obviously, when I say we're going to do some, I also not going to like promise like, we're going to go out and do like a whole set of 50 cards, that's going to be made purely from land. Like, yeah, we don't have that, that capability yet. Like we technically could do it, but we have other things to do, right? So my idea is to get the template out, get the understanding out of what can be done, keep the flow going, keep that momentum going. Like I think Matt used that term the other day. I think it was in maybe it was in our internal meeting, but he was talking about momentum. Like we have a steady momentum going, and he wants to continue that, which of course I do as well, right? Like that's important, right? People should be like clicking into Splinterlands and finding out what's cool and new coming up, right? And actually believe that that's what's going to be happening. That's kind of what momentum is.
I was just gonna say, I feel like you got there towards the end of your talking point there, Dave, in that it serves as the template, right? Like I feel like the land card, regardless of what the outcome looks like, whether it's it's designed for land, it's designed for survival, it caters to modern ranked, it's specifically a guild card. Who cares, right? Like I think ultimately it's a technical prerequisite for the items and spells, which is ultimately the vision for land anyways. And it's just allowing you guys to ultimately test that overall appetite for these sorts of things and can kind of help, better inform decisions down the road with smaller consequential stuff now. So I feel like it's, ultimately it's win-win. Whether it's a total flop or not is actually irrelevant in my mind. It ultimately it helps us narrow that focus for where we should be going, and it ticks off the box in that, hey, maybe there's no appetite for this. But also the opposite could be completely true, in that, maybe you do pursue the land giant that's created and crafted out of stone, and it's designed to increase output of stone, and it's a huge hit. I think just again going back to, like we were talking about with the Yaba stuff and the pickle card, the idea of, pursuing these creative threads in terms of what is possible is just huge, and that's what feels so new about this new era of Splinterlands and Praetoria, man. And I'm super stoked for it. I was listening back to the town hall again this morning as we were kind of gearing up for this episode, and sit down with you, Dave. And one of the final questions, I forget who asked it, but I'm glad that they did. The question was, if you could adjust, or if you could snap your fingers and bring one thing to the game, right now, what would it be? And we've talked through just about everything that was mentioned with, the avatars from Nate's perspective. It was the in-game trading hub and auction house and bounties from Blaze's perspective. Eagle chimed in and said the same thing. Game modes was one that was mentioned from Gator. And Dave, you took the bigger picture route and said something to the effect of, all of the above, as long as it gets us at least 2,000 players a month, we're doing it. We're doing it all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's man, I gotta say, I to kind of bring it back full circle to the beginning of the conversation, I feel like that confidence, it's not just external, it's not just community driven. It's also, to your earlier point, Dave, the team is performing and outputting at a rate that we have never seen before, and I don't think the team believed that they were capable of delivering that. And the pace and the quality and the there's, as an external viewer and observer and participant, there hasn't been a single hiccup. Like you guys are hit, calling your shots, hitting all the shots, and with each successive hit shot, that confidence and belief in our ability to tick bigger, more frequent, and more meaningful boxes from the team's perspective. That it's all a shot of adrenaline and dopamine for the team as much as it is for us. So hey, I realize my comments earlier probably came across as, oh, Dave, if you weren't here, we would have failed. The team didn't know what they were doing. That's not how I meant it. I meant, I think we all appreciate and have seen we wouldn't be here if there wasn't a pre-existing game with a lot of very cool stuff already happening. And whether it's Eagle and Lily on the support squad, or Nate and Joey and that crew on the creative side, or Harry and Team Dev led by Matt. There was a lot of cool stuff, but you have just elevated it all to be in sync and at a new level. And as that confidence continues to grow internally, it wouldn't surprise me if we're sitting back down here in about 6 months to round out the year, and we're looking back and seeing all of these boxes that we talked about on Town Hall yesterday or 2 days ago having been ticked. And if your will comes to fruition, Dave, that's 6 months from now. That's 12,000 players. We'll be 12,000 players richer by end of year from now.
Yeah,
stoked, man.
I mean, I think the part that, like, I think how best to put this. I think part of the execution and part of the confidence comes because, like I said, it's like pushing the boundaries. Like, my mentality is such, like, we live, in a society that's very technical and complicated. And I mean, you think about like the stuff we do. Like, we talked about a pickle card and then made it, right? Like, it's going to be on the screen and it's going to be doing certain things in battle, and and it materialized out of like our mind.
Ooh,
right?
can you make a one of one that wiggles when it's on the freaking
The
battle
pickle
screen?
wiggle?
It's just
The pickle wiggle.
The
The
pickle
wiggling
wiggle.
pickle.
wiggle, man. And it's a one of one. It's an animated pickle.
Yo, isn't
Every
that a
time
grocery
it gets
store
burned.
in your neck of the woods, Dave?
It is actually the Piggly Wiggly, but
The
yeah,
Piggly
the
Wiggly.
pickle wiggle is
Yeah,
pretty good
every
too,
time
but-
it's his turn on the battlefield, he does a little wiggle.
A little squirms a little bit.
Yeah, a little slippery
I mean,
pickle.
I'll put it this way: like all those things are gonna happen at a much more rapid rate as well when we get confidence, because like a lot of what happens is you're nervous about stuff. Like, we do this, and how long is it going to take, and how hard is it going to be, and what happens if the community's not happy about it. Like, I like blow past that stuff. Like, I do talk to the community. I do try to like find out like what people think, right? I pay attention to the narratives that are being discussed on every topic, right? And so like, I'm not afraid like to pause survival mode, right? Like, everybody's like, oh, you can't do that. Like, oh, it's horrible. Like, well, why is it horrible, right? Don't we want to make it better? And the answer was, well, yeah, but what if they think we're shutting it down? I'm like, well, I can't worry about what they think. I just got to do what's right? Like, what's going to make the most sense, right? And having said that, I don't want to shut it down for good. I literally do want to just pause it and make it better, right? Because I looked ahead and said, we're going to have a big fight coming up, and it's possible it might not get funded if it isn't, some changes aren't made, because the funny thing is, like, people on both sides of the argument were starting to agree, right? Like, there's problems. So when it gets to that point, like, you can't be afraid to make decisions, right? You can't be afraid to like say, well, hold on, we're just going to pause for a little bit. We're going to come back. It's still something we're going to do, and then work through it. And I'm now in that process. Like, I had meetings all day today. That's why I missed my damn brawls, right? Because I'm sitting there talking to guys. Yeah, like I'm talking to guys saying, "Hey, what do you think if we did this? What do you think if we did that?" And I'm willing to engage little players, big players. I don't really have a bias because everybody's my customer. That's how I look at it. Like I want the little guys too, right? Like I don't want just the whales. I love the whales, right? Because they keep us in business. But having said that, I want a million little fishes, swimming around, happy as
Also
shit.
keeping us in business.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
this is what is going to make us successful. This, like, what we're talking about and what this represents in my mind is so unique to Splinterlands. Like, you are purely representing the company now, Dave, as COO, and you're having the discussions with the player base representing the DAO, which is ultimately going to dictate the direction that the product is going. Like, how cool is that premise? It's fucking awesome, in my opinion. And I love that, there were a lot of guys that were anti survival mode from the get when we first caught wind about it, whenever it was December, January. Uh, Jimmy and I included, we're both vocal about it and saying, it's why now? There's bigger fish to fry, more meaningful fish to fry. I've since walked my opinion back. I think we've seen a lot of the folks that were on the extreme no side of the equation say, I think there's something there. Let's work towards, exactly what we were talking about earlier in the evolving maturity of the DAO and our relationship with the company. You're trying to achieve consensus, and that's so that when the final prototype is put up for proposal for the DAO to inherit the reward distribution, it's a no-brainer for us to say yes. I mean, that whole concept it's such a cool blueprint, and we're watching it unfold before our eyes. And Dave, I don't know if you are in a position, or if the conversations have progressed to a point where you want to talk about what's being considered for the future of survival mode. Is that something that you're at liberty to discuss, or not yet?
I would say it wouldn't be very productive. Only like I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's not like a secret. Like I did have conversations with I easily 6, 7 guys today. Um, the the reason why I don't think it would be productive is because it's still like a lot of people are like, let me think about it, right? Like it's a little bit basically we have to improve liquidity, right? Like we can't not have enough liquidity. That's a big issue. Um, we have to have a situation where some of the exploits are taken care of. For instance, guy playing himself, at 4 o'clock in the morning. You got the rental issue where, somebody figured out how to get all the cheap rentals and then rent them in perpetuity, and then nobody else could get those cards unless some guy didn't undo them. I mean, there's a lot of like little things like that, as well as on the low end, right? Like people are perceiving it to be a whales game, and that's it, right? And like people are like, hey, I'm a pretty good player. I got like 3 sets of cards, but I can't get past silver. Like, is that a design of the game itself? Is that a way in which it's structured? Like, so there's all these kind of questions. Yeah, I've got ideas myself, and I've kind of pulled together what I think is the solution. Then I've taken it to Matt and gotten him to not even agree with me. Like he actually, I wouldn't say we had a disagreement about it, but he had one view, I had a different view. We did find a middle where he could live with it and I could live with it, even though, it wasn't either of our choices. And now I'm at the point where I'm starting to ask, like, hey, Jangles, what do you think? Hey, Fat Jimmy, what do you think? Hey, Gold Matters, what do you think? Hey, Buctus, what do you think? Hey, Matt Clark, blah, 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 on down the line, right? And the one thing I will tell everybody, like, my goal is not to have it be my solution. My goal is to make sure whatever we do is good enough that it will pass. If it doesn't pass, then I failed, right? Like, and when I say pass, not this, right? Like we paused to make the changes, and then we'll put those changes back in, And if they work as intended, then I expect we pass, right? Like I expect if it does what we think it's going to do based on whatever solution, then people will say, yep, that's it. I'm voting for it. I don't want to be in a situation where we get to that point where we've tried it and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, community, what do you think? And then find out like we can't get 2/3 of the people to vote for it, right? And if that's the case, how many people are going to feel burned? How many people bought cards and be burned? How many people are going to fight? And I mean, it would just be one nasty environment, if we get to that point. So rather than deal with that, right, at the time, I just have a little bit of foresight, right, to say, why don't we go ahead and fix it now? Then everybody can see it's working. And then we have no problem getting it passed. Because I think generally most people like the idea. They just don't like necessarily the way it was implemented. And I'll give you one more thing. And I love your show because we can talk for like 7 hours, which is cool.
You just set a high watermark for us, Dave.
Yeah,
we got to do a 7-hour marathon show.
You're gonna have to put your sunglasses on before this one's all said and done, Dave.
So there's another one that I also have in my head, and we're talking about templates. This is a template for what I think is also going to be how we're going to have to solve the SPS, running out at some point in the future. Like we all know it's going to happen. We all know that like there's only so much SPS to go into ranked play and tournaments, and then we're going to have a vote. And what are we going to do? Are we going to like do a happening type thing? Are we going to do a gradual thing? Are we going to cut out some modes and add it to other modes? And all those little things, right? It's kind of the same thing. Like it would be good if we can use this example and say, we don't necessarily have to pause this time, guys. Like, I'm not saying we pause anything, but let's use the same process to come up with solutions that we can all get behind, right? And it's never going to be exactly what one person wants. And that's the beauty of this process, right? Because like, let's say I threw out this idea to you guys right now, and I said, all right, here's what I really think. And then you guys are like, absolutely not. That's dumb as shit. I don't want to do that, right? Then I go to Buctus and he says, yep, I love it, right? Then I go to Zircon and he agrees with you guys. It's horrible. Then I go to, Gold Matters and he's like, yeah, I agree with you. And then I look at the votes and I see it's 50-50, right? Like who is excited about it not passing? Nobody. Everybody would be unhappy, but you think like you can get your way and have it pass, but that's not the way the world works. Like you have to like look at the other guy's point of view and try to find something to agree on, because if you don't, then you ain't going to get 67%. You don't get 67%. We stay paused, right? And all those guys that I gave you two, you don't want to see that happen. Buctus don't want to see that happen. Gold Matters don't want to see that happen. So everybody's incentivized to find solutions that we can all agree to so we can move forward. The same thing is the case with SPS, right? Like we're all incentivized to make sure that we extend our runway. So how do we do it? I don't know. I got some ideas, like I have some ideas on survival mode, but at the end of the day, they're not my ideas. They're just starting points, right? I mean, they are my ideas, but they're just
make SPS $10 and then you could break it up fractionally. We're all set.
Yeah, I agreed. And
that's the easy solution right there.
Well, damn, Jimmy.
All right, so I
$10 SPS.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm gonna see if we can have a vote for me to do that. If everybody would give me a vote to do that, that would be cool.
Oh, it's just done by new players. You know how it works.
I know. Actually,
we're on board. We're on target. We hit 10 cents. We hit $10.
Honestly, like you said, that's actually like everything does boil down to that. Like if you actually sit back and think about it, new players solves everything. So we really don't have to solve any of it if we can just solve the new players.
That's coming. That's coming. We're getting to that. We're getting the product so advanced that's inevitable. It really is.
I tell you, I love the help that we're also getting for the community. Like I hate to throw too many like tidbits out there of things that we're doing, but let me just say like what Jangles did for that match play that he did, when he gave you the demo of how the cards worked. And I know we don't have a visual here, but I mean, it was really, really fun, right? Like, I want to see like stuff like that. Like, I can't point and say like, yeah, we're going to get a lot of new players and it's going to happen because we're going to put these cool sound effects in the game, right? Like, of course, those sound effects in the game are not going to give us like the magic bullet to get us new players, but it's that plus something else, plus something else, plus something else, plus something else.
Yeah.
And
I describe it as you're
them,
splitting hairs. You're splitting hairs, but that adds up to a full head. It really does. Every little thing is one hair on a full head of hair.
my God, Jimmy, I'm telling you, this show has it literally has to be dissected into like 20 segments, each of which has got like a clip of you like giving like the wisdom of a lifetime, man. Like almost like the guru up on a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, we got our very own Buddha here, Dave.
Yeah,
two weeks ago we had Fat Jimmy. Now we got the freaking Dalai Lama here.
He's got
even better. It's each hair and a mustache. Each hair gives you a full mustache.
Full circle. Call back.
And you know what? When it comes time to when I win a leaderboard and invent a card, it's going to be Jimmy's mustache, inspired by Yabas Pickle. Bam! Done. I've decided.
Hey, we thought Yaba was squirming on the last town hall. Just wait till he gets wind of this one.
Jimmy's mustache.
The Jimmy stash.
Oh yeah, the old mustache rides T-shirt. Remember that mustache?
Have you guys seen all the jokes that they've had about the pickle? I mean, there's some pretty funny guys in our community.
I haven't.
I'm waiting for Crypto Eater to pick it up with his PNS token.
Yeah, he did.
That's like match made in heaven right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I mean, I will say that it's I mean, that's what games should be, right? Like that's part of it, right? Like you have to have character. You can't be sterile, right?
No,
is that a pickle joke?
Yeah, I know. I have to take that back because that's probably going to be. Make sure you delete that part there, Jangles.
No, that's the first one that's getting clipped.
That's in there,
sorry,
man.
Dude.
Yeah. And it goes with production.
That's going in the Hall of Fame, dude.
Back.
The real deal Hall of Fame.
I can tell you right now that there were people that told me today that they were cutting parts of that town hall out. Like it was one of the funniest things that they've ever seen. Like the conversations about that, like they literally want to save that. Like 5 years from now, we're gonna like how Gold Matters always has clips and stuff from the past. Like that's gonna be that town hall is gonna be a famous town hall one day.
Well, man, I got to tell you, like the fact that we can focus on the fun again, like to the point that you just said, like that's such a positive symptom and side effect of things moving in the right direction. When we can sit back and have fun with stuff and make a stupid pickle card that everybody's excited and laughing about, like that's a good sign of the times. Like I'm stoked at the moment. I think we've all kind of felt the tides turning over the last couple of months, and now it's time to get on our surfboards and ride that fucker throughout the rest of the year. And it's a fun time to be here, man.
Cool. I agree. And thank you both for what you do. Not just the show, right? Like doing the show is amazing. I think you've been called the Joe Rogan show of Splinterlands, but all those things you guys do, and then on top of that, the creativity, the connecting other people. Like I say to Jangles, like, hey, can you contact the people over in Taiwan that make these little figurines that Brave Tofu was talking about? Like he's like on it, like I'll do it. Like both you guys, like you're amazing, right? So and you're not alone, right? Like there's a lot of people like Tails I'm working with on Twitch. Like I'm getting Twitch drops, right? So Jangles, you're gonna want to take this show over there at some point, right? Because Twitch drops is like a thing, right? So there's Tails, like not a team employee, but a guy who just loves Splinterlands and says, hey, what can I do? How can I make it, better? After sound, doing songs, right? Like for our characters. I think he did the Matt song, right? Like, yeah, did you probably haven't seen it, Jimmy, but it's really cool trailer type thing for the Matt card, right? Like it's pretty badass. So,
Oh, I think I heard that. It was in Discord the other
yeah,
day. It
yeah,
got all badass and it was like some
yeah,
heavy metal going on. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
Matt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so stuff like that, and
that's awesome.
a lot of these things are like outside the community. You have a lot of freedom to do a lot of stuff that we maybe can't do. So, like for instance, AI. Like we got to be careful how we use AI. Like we don't want to make our cards with AI because
No, no, yeah.
that would be, in my opinion, not a positive thing to do. Having
No.
said that, you guys make all kinds of cards with AI and all kinds of you animate the characters and you spread the word and get like some really cool ideas floating around. I mean, all that's very helpful, man. I mean, it not only keeps people pumped up and excited and spread our brand, but it also helps because it gives us ideas, right? Like I said with Brave Tofu, man. I mean that dude, he's lucky, that I mean he makes just a massive amount of cool things, right? So whether it's his holiday themed cards to his puzzles to his figurines to his toy animated figure or not toy animated figures, the toy figurines that come in the plastic cases. I mean, they're just like amazing, right? And I mean, I have a feeling like he's going to do 100 more. Like, I don't really get the feeling that he's like, this is like passion, right? So, what are you doing, Jimmy? Oh, there you go. The Dr. Blight. There you go. That is cool.
Is that from Splinterfest?
That
Where
is
you got
from
that?
Splinterfest, the little Dr. Blight and pewter
Nice.
figurine there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Jangles is actually, at least trying to get a hold of them. Like we have no idea. Like maybe the answer is that those things are like $700 a piece, right? And you have to make 10,000 of them before they're even going to do it. And so we wasted Jangles' time. But Jangles is saying, "Hey, he raises my hand. I'll raise my hand. I'll go waste my time to try to make that happen." That's cool, right? Like that's like great. I mean, I've got like Jagged right now is working on doing something with merchandise, right? Like being able to put something out into the community that spreads the word, right? And so I'm like listening to him, like, how does it work? What do you envision? How can we work together? And in some cases, like if I can't get it done, like I couldn't send Blaze to chase down the figurine company, but Django's raised his hand and said, "I'll do it." Right? Like that's cool, man. I mean, that's what makes us. That's why people put $100,000 in to our card set, right? Because it's the community, it's the potential that we have. Like that kind of stuff is it's very hard to like explain, but when you're here, you know it.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that stuff,
Because,
man.
yeah.
That's such a difficult piece of the equation that, when you're shopping around on other games and you're doing your research, you're looking at the market and the industry that we're competing in. I would be shocked if there was another community, and maybe it's personal bias, but I would be shocked if there was another community that is as badass as the one that we've put together here. Like we have to your point, we've got so many different contributors across so many different facets of just cool and interesting and engaging ways of creating content and fun conversation, and you name it, there's somebody out in the Splinterlands community that is probably an expert at it, right? And if they're not, they're willing to learn it because they love what's happening here. So
Yep.
yeah, very cool shout out, Dave.
And I'll say another one. Like I was talking to Dingus, Captain Dingus, the other day, and
I love
I
that
mean,
name, by the way. Captain Dingus.
I'll tell you what, that dude is sharp. I mean, like we had I don't know if it was it Zoom. Oh, it was a Google Meet, or maybe Discord. Like I said, they all run together after a while. But I mean, I'll tell you the things that I don't forget is like that he is one sharp cookie, right? So, you know, I'm gonna find a way. Like he basically said, "Hey, whatever I can do to help, I'm gonna do to help." Right? Like that's his his whole mindset. Like, hey, he contacted me about like helping, right? Like, hey, I have this idea. I think it can help you guys. And then I put him to work, right? Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool, which it was, right? And then in addition to that, like, what else can you do? Right. And then through talking to him after a while, I realized like, damn, I mean, he's connected, he's smart, he's a really sharp guy, so we got a lot of people like that. Like, we don't just have people that are like average people that are, I don't know, like, here for no reason. Like, I think there's a lot of really, really smart people that see something, right? And that's why they're willing to do what they're willing to do. Like, because they want to see it come to fruition, and to me, again, that kind of goes back to the hope part of it. But the hope part of it is built on true, legitimate belief, that this opportunity exists. And that's a lot of companies don't have that, man. They don't.
Yeah, because Greece is the way we are feeling.
Yes. Yes.
Right on
All right.
cue. Right on cue, Jimmy.
I think I wore you guys out. So if you're done, I think the 3 hour mark's coming up. So
Yeah, I was going to say we're at about 6 hours now.
yeah,
That's what it feels like anyway. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the reality, but
We've definitely been
Oh,
talking
my
for 3.5 hours. We've only been recording
my
for some of
God.
that, but yeah.
I was out with Clay. Clay's on the other side of the world, and I was on with him till 3 a.m. on my time, which is 3 p.m. his time. But when we were talking, like his work schedule, he's like on Eastern Standard Time now. Like, he sleeps in the middle of the day because he works in the middle of the night, because that's when we're over here, right? So it's
Yeah.
like pretty funny, like how intense everybody is. And
Well,
like
he's a
Clay's
vampire too. I can tell by the music he listens to. Clay is a vampire. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's the reality of the situation.
he could be.
He might be.
he
Yeah.
actually
A
could.
good vampire. He's one of those good cuddly vampires that you hear about every once in a while.
Like Twilight, those Twilight people.
Nice, Dave. I think you're going to hear from Clay for that one. I think he was going to be proud of being called a vampire. I don't know about that. Oh, shit.
Well, I mean, Death is becoming the cute, cuddly Splinter with the gnomes and everything now. So that we're headed in that direction. So cute
Yeah.
vampire.
I am
We
pretty
didn't-
excited about Han V winning the summoner. He said he's going to have his little boy do a gnome, for his thing. So
we didn't
Nice.
talk about the pre-sale at all, but I mean, we were live doing the countdown, and we watched the fireworks transpire in the moment, and Han V sneaking in and securing that. I don't remember. It must have been third place. It was Manser, and then Tofu, and then Han V. And then for him to come out and share his story, and the couple of guys that got knocked out were, they were very humble in their defeat, and or gracious in their defeat. And yeah, Han V, what a move, dude! I don't know if he listens to the People's Guild, but it was awesome
third
to
place.
watch. Yeah, third place in the
Yeah.
final 18 seconds or something like that. Risky
I'm so
move.
bummed I missed that.
Oh, it was fun, man.
I'm so bummed I missed that, man.
yeah, it was definitely risky. I mean, yeah, that definitely took nerves to wait that long with 18 seconds. I mean,
Yeah,
you
he
have any kind
waited.
of internet hiccup, or even if the site just glitched on you. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Brass balls is what
Yeah.
that takes. Brass
Why
balls.
don't you? Yeah, say that again.
Brass balls. Like that Alex Baldwin holding up the brass balls. I forget what movie that was. A classic. Classic.
Well, hey, have either of you guys something that we haven't talked about at all is the actual gameplay stuff. Have either of you guys played with the new cards to the extent that you would like to?
No, I just got the promos, but Dave's got them all. He's got the black foil set apparently, looking at the who's pulling what on the thing.
I don't have a full set of black foils by any means, but I definitely have a lot of commons and rares. But the answer is no. I haven't. I mean, I can't even play my damn brawls. So I'm hoping to get a little bit of time this weekend to test them out. But my cards are getting played by Charles and
Nice.
Patrick Root. So I have noticed that Charles seems to be doing pretty well. So that's pretty cool.
Do black foils have the same bonus as gold, like the 10% earn bonus,
20.
or is it more?
20.
20. Woo!
Yep.
Damn. Damn.
And they're not terrible on land. They got a
Yeah, I saw that too.
Healthy land bonus.
Yep. But you can't play them if they're on land, can you? Has that happened yet?
No, that has not happened.
Well, that's what I like to see. Tough decisions. I want to see more of that. More tough decisions that you have to make. Same with land. When you were saying land things before, I want to see all of those things happen on land because I want to be there and I want to have to make hard decisions about what I'm going to end up crafting.
That should be the way it should be, right? Like that's part of the game.
The way it should be.
Right? Yep. Like the game isn't like, hey, tell me the answer, right? And then everybody does the same thing. Like if that was the case, it's not even a game, right?
No. That would be bullshit. That's bullshit.
That wouldn't be a game, right? So I really love like somebody's like, why don't internally, I forget who said it, and I'm not trying to make fun of them or anything, but they made a comment and said something like, why do we need to craft the raffle tickets, for instance? Why don't we just let them buy the raffle tickets, with the resources? I'm like, because the crafting part is part of the coolness of land, right? Like you want to make these things, so you have to decide, like, do I make more wood? And if I'm going to make more wood, how am I going to do that? And it's not the same as just straight buy them. I mean, you can straight buy them, but part of the fun is actually crafting them. And the great thing is that most of the people on our team really get that. Like that's like Manser, for instance. He's all about that. Like he's a true land like aficionado. Like that's why he's so good at making it. Not only does he not have the skills, but I mean, he's like motivated. He'd be like one of you guys, making the game. Like you would be like, holy cow, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. That's kind of how Manser is. But he's very professional, so I will give him that too.
He does good work, man. I mean, the black foil stuff and the new work sites and the aura and the crafting of the midnight potions, like all of that stuff came from concept to to shelves in a matter of weeks. That guy, he cranks it out, and it looks good, operates well, smooth.
Well thought through. The other thing, and since we're on a 7-hour marathon, I'll give you another thing that's pretty cool. Is a layperson, which I am, like I'm just the normal guy that she doesn't know anything about many things, right? But a little bit about everything. So I walk into them and say, hey, what about this idea, right? And I'm thinking like, well, that's pretty easy, right? Almost immediately, like everybody in the organization, like will say, oh, well, then you got to change this and you got to change that. And this has got to move around. And there's like 17 things, like with everything that I would think would be like, well, that's really easy. And like, no, it's never easy. Like there's always like one more thing to think of. Everybody from Royal Legal to Tyler to Joey to Nate to of course all the devs. I mean, they all like they'll ask questions like, okay, so you want to have a raffle, right? Like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I want a raffle. Like, who doesn't know what a raffle is, right? But then they'll say things like, well, how do you want it to be? Like, can you enter more than once? Can you do you want the tickets, to be tradable or not tradable? Like, it's like without having a list, they have a list, right? Like, it's amazing, right? Like, they like go down a list in their head, off the top of their head, the first time they ever hear it. It's almost like amazing, like one of those shows where I forget where they would go on the game show and try to stump them, and then they would have to answer those questions, and they just like geniuses. That's what our guys are. Like
The Price is Right.
Yeah, I think it was more than The Price is Right. It was like
press your luck.
Yeah, so it was I can't think of it. And it is like 1 a.m. after being up at 3 a.m. But I'm still going pretty strong because I do like the idea of 7 hour marathon. The people's
We're
guild.
almost there. We're almost at the halfway point for
You're
that. I
getting
mean, we might as
close.
well just keep going at this point, man. We're almost there. Why start a new one? Why not just do it now?
Yeah.
Just
All
keep
right.
going.
You guys actually, I think I did wear you out of questions. Do you guys have any more questions? Anything you want to talk about?
Jimmy?
Not at the moment. I'm good right now, man. I think that was he answered my question about land cards. That was all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited about making stuff on land. So,
Oh yeah, me too,
I mean,
man. I'm at a point where I'm instead of buying the new set right now, I'm still buying land cards just because I think, again, production on land is going to be hard to come by. The more sets that go by, man, those Chaos Legion gold foils, that's some real, that's some solid shit right there.
You
yeah,
you
Pick
might
them
be
up while
right,
you
but
can.
I gotta say, man, and Dave, I think I shared with you earlier in the week. I went on an absolute Splinterlands bender, the likes of which I have never done before. As soon as Modern ticked over to no more Chaos Legion, I think I took the day off of work. I gave my time to my dog and to Splinterlands, and I think Splinterlands took the lion's share. I think I was playing matches and wheeling and dealing cards and looking at the market for like 16 hours or something. I ended up I set my alarm for 3 a.m. Packs I think were openable at 1, but I played it safe, assuming that maybe the update was going to take a little bit longer. So I set my alarm for 3, and I was playing, interacting with stuff, talking to a whole bunch of folks on Discord, watching all the streams for the next 16 hours, literally. And the number of like OG accounts that I have never come across in Modern before that I came across, I can't even tell you. Like there were names that I've seen in Discord, there were names that I've seen in wild leaderboards, on like top holders for land. They're participating in Modern. I think everybody was expecting modern battles to just fall off the cliff. They haven't. There's been, I mean, it certainly has gone down, but when did we switch over? It must have been the 13th. So we went from 20,000 battles to 17 to 14. So, like reasonable decrease, but it certainly didn't fall off a cliff. So I think, Jimmy, as soon as you get a taste of like the full-on bloodline synergies and like what the new modern looks and feels like, your plan of land cards is yeah, it's gonna be out the window, bro. Conclave Arcana is
Oh
freaking
no,
awesome.
no,
It's
it's
so much
happening.
fun.
Well, land
Oh,
is going to be
both,
fun to
both.
set. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
both.
It's boom. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Both. It's coming. It's coming.
All right,
yeah,
It's the
Dave.
DEC is tough. Yeah, DEC for land is tough. I keep spending it on cards instead of staking it to put the cards on the land. It's bullshit. Bullshit. I gotta sell stuff. Sell more stone to put cards on land. That's the key. More
yeah. I need
stone.
I need stone, man. I definitely I'm
I've
stone.
got a good balance, man. I'm surprised. Like with my 2.5 tracks, I have a pretty good balance of production
What
so
region are
far.
you? I know what region are you in again?
26 and 27 are full tracts, and then I have some scattered. I got a bunch in 119. Sentinel blew it. Shout out to him there. And then there's a
Is that
couple
Lawnshire?
randoms here and there. Yep, that's
Lawnshire?
Longshire. Yep.
Nice.
And I got a bunch in there, including a keep. And yeah, and then a bunch of randoms here and there, including a legendary grain plot in 29 with like 4 other grain plots where I'm just cranking out grain.
Wow.
But yeah, yeah, lucky with the legendary. Who knows how long it's going to stay grain for? Once we get 1,000 resources coming, that could all change. We only have 4 right now.
Yeah, I think that the people that like the land are gonna like be happy that we're gonna continue to do like that kind of thinking, like should I have grain, should I not have grain? Like right now we've been very neutral, I guess I would say, on the resources. But part of the reason why we're neutral is because we're just starting, right? But as we get more things, then it's going to be more like some things are going to be naturally all stone, and some things like mostly wood, and some things are mostly iron, and so you'll have more game to it, right? Like this thing I need, right? Like to make, or I want to make, but I don't have any wood, so I just can't run that shop, you know. And maybe you could buy it. I mean, it just becomes more of a, like you're really going to have to learn how to manage things. Like, and that, like I said, that's part of the fun of it. Not to mention it's profitable right now. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm doing pretty well on my land.
No,
Yeah,
I'm at
I'm
a
loving
deficit.
mine. I'm cranking out. Yeah, I'm doing SPS.
When you say a deficit, yeah, Jimmy said he's making SPS. Are you not making anything there? Oh, that's because you took all your deck off your land.
I put it back on, but I'm just focused on stacking ore at the moment. I mean it's not the end of the world, and I'm a really small landholder anyways. I've got some good cards on there. I'm kind of weighing my options with titles and stuff like that if I want to flaunt them in ranked, or if I want to allocate them to land. But I mean it's a small deficit.
Both. I think
you could do both.
You can have a title. You could have a title on land and have it shown as your name. 99% sure that's the case. Like you don't have to use your title for your. I'm pretty sure. Like I think I had all of mine on land, and then you just choose which one you want to display. I think the display is, yeah, 99% sure. Yeah, I got a bunch of titles. I'm pretty sure they're all on land, and then you get to just choose which one you want next to your name.
Oh, well, I'll have to look into that because I did just get a nice little epic title, my first epic title from
which one?
The Enigma.
Bam!
Enigma.
That's fancy.
So I'll toss it on land and see what's what. But if I get a 3-day cooldown, Jimmy, you're getting a Discord message.
I think he should pay you if that happens.
Yeah, or I'll get the call at 3 a.m. My Discord's ringing at 3 a.m. What's going on?
Bro. Christopher Walken would like a word.
Like a word with you about my title. It doesn't work as you told me it would, and that's not okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you're gonna have to take this. You guys know how to dice, like, in edit, right? There's got to be like at least 20 great clips for Jimmy here. This is like the best of Jimmy today. No doubt.
The greatest hits.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
It's because I'm just too tired to think, and I'm just spewing nonsense. That's what it comes down to. And this whole episode could be edited into about 20 minutes and be way better.
No, I hard disagree, man. I love the long rambles and.
Yeah, no, that's the good stuff. Dave gets 2 walks out of this episode.
Yeah, Dave's gonna have to do multiple laps for this one.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I don't even know if I have time to listen to this one. My God, this is like what, 3.5
Creeping
hours?
up on 7 hours, man. We're getting there.
Let's get you guys out of here.
Keep going.
No, let's cut it. It's getting late,
time.
man.
It's time. Yes.
All right. By the way, did you guys I know they can't see the background and stuff, but did you guys
I have the coolest background?
Her backgrounds or something like?
Well, his put his up first, and Jimmy was like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to copy that."
No, I didn't. I did it before I saw yours. We did an episode where I went through like 10 backgrounds, and then As you can see, mine is way a way cooler version of what he's got there.
Gotcha.
My
All
tower is burning with magic, and his is dark, barely on. I've got the magic staff is raging. Look at even the sky is more raging. So it's mine is definitely cooler.
All right.
I think we actually both showed up with these backgrounds
We did.
pending.
It was
Yeah.
one day. One
Yeah.
day.
Cool. Yeah, one
It just
day, by
happened.
the way, I on my wish list of things is that the influencers get their own backgrounds for gameplay. I'm really excited to see what the People's Guild comes up with when that happens.
The bus storming Pretoria, baby.
The bus with the mustache on the front, man. That's
The
actually a
mustache.
thing. People put
The
mustaches on. The mustache, bam! Love it. The mustache.
What would Christopher Walken say about that?
I don't know. I have no idea, really. A mustache is something that's very interesting and not very creative or original. So I don't know if I could support that type of nonsense.
Yeah, that's when Christopher Walken finds himself a walking, bro, off the bus. All right, gentlemen, let's get you guys out of here. Dave, as always, man, absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Once again, huge congratulations to you and to the whole team. We appreciate everything that you guys are. There was a joke on the town hall about you guys not knowing what weekends are, and it comes from a place of passion. You guys could very easily just disappear for a couple of days and punch back in on Monday, but I know it's not a part of the culture, and it's not lost on the community. We notice it, we appreciate it. We love you guys for it, and you guys are delivering awesome stuff. We're happy to be along for the ride, and you're always welcome to come talk about that ride here at TPG, Dave. So I appreciate you hanging out for 4 hours. We'll hit that 7-hour mark on the next one.
Yes, that's we have to invite AZ for that one though. I gotta make sure he stays up for 7 hours too.
Yeah, get that 7-hour TikTok stream, AZ. Let's go, man. All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys listening. Hope you're having fun with Conclave Arcana. If you haven't caught up with all the fireworks, there's a couple of really cool. We did a pre-sale stream from the official Splinterlands YouTube that's worth checking out. If nothing else, just watch the last 10 minutes. The fireworks were pretty intense and fun, and there were definitely some emotions getting shown. It was a lot of fun to be a part of. Otherwise, we will catch you guys next week. In the meantime, you have been listening to
The People's Guild.
Welcome to the People's Guild.
Splinterlands. Pretoria.
For guests all across the mythical land of Pretoria, tune in.
Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.
Pretoria. Pretoria. Tune in. Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.